and just wanted to show her new boyfriend how we were doing in House of Cards. So I made a random one because I didn't want to put it on Make Your Point or on Disordered Wave. So
you're lame.
I know.
I'm kind of sad I can't crash House of Cards this week.
I'm sorry.
Just randomly show up.
And yeah, we're live now. So good job, you were Mac competent. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you.
There we go.
He owns a Mac.
Right?
Hey, you know that documentary now? I kind of feel like making a documentary.
On our show?
No, on the Vermcats.
Oh my god.
I'm really interested in the Vermcat situation here. Like, it's really sad, actually, in a lot of ways.
These cats don't have a home.
Well, yeah, no, here's my thing.
They go around town scrounging for food.
Well, they do. And, I've walked past Domino's and they have the food outside there. And that's really cool, actually. I mean, I feel sorry for the animals.
That's pretty much where they're all at.
Yeah.
And then downtown.
Well, that's the only way they can really get food. And it's just really a sad situation. It'd be really interesting to find a way to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have a solution?
Not really. Try to...
That might be a bad documentary.
We have a humane society here, don't we? We have some kind of
Beats me.
situation. It's maybe trying to invest more in the city in some sort of animal protective thing, because we don't have much here. I know we have a vet clinic that's actually kind of expensive here, but that's about it. That's really all we've got. So maybe trying to invest in some sort of or try to get donations to invest in some sort of protective situation for the cats. Because basically we just have a ton of just homeless cats just running around.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It really is.
Definitely. All right, V. What do we got?
I'm like opening my soul here.
Open your soul. I'm just not paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm getting our Ustream on Facebook so people can watch us be all goofy.
That's cool.
We're not really goofy on this show.
Yeah, this show.
Well, sometimes
this
we can be.
This isn't quite like Distorted Wave where we have like long breaks.
And you have weird stuff to talk about.
Instead, basically, the extent of it is like when we get off a break here, when we were talking about some kind of zany topic, you'll hear me like with a giant F bomb or something. That's basically the extent of it.
Don't say F.
Or you'll see our reactions to each other. I think that's the most entertaining part, just like watching you two argue.
Well, they can't see my reactions because I'm turned away.
Well,
I will turn specifically
see
for my
as long as
reaction.
everyone's in their picture, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the fun part, just seeing like people's reactions and stuff sometimes. Just like, whoa, that's interesting. But yeah, in the interest of time, JoJo's not going to be here in the next few minutes. Supposedly, I don't know. He didn't text me. He just said he worked up until 5, but he should be able to be here.
He works
so.
nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He
That's
doesn't
why I
have
wasn't
hard
too
walk.
worried. But I was waiting a little bit for him. But we can start off. Excuse me. Our first topic, once again this week, we're gonna hit baseball pretty heavily. So Major League Baseball, the World Series started last night. The World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals. And I'm actually gonna put a question on our Make Your Point page because I'm Facebook not challenged, and I can do that.
Yeah, people should actually like comment on it.
Unlike our last question, which had like 2 comments on it, and it was you and Joe. It's like, what should happen? Anyways, game 1, Boston won 8-1 over St. Louis. Were you surprised by this, first of all? And then we'll get a little bit more into the breakdown of the game.
Yeah, I was surprised by the score. I was expecting a lot closer score, being that it was game 1 and both of these teams are on a hot streak right now. Showed that Boston, their bats came alive once again, and Cardinals, Wainwright got roughed up just a little bit too much, and that's what happens when you're down 5-0 in the bottom of the 5th, and then you're down 7-0 in the bottom of the 6th. So it was just a bad night overall for the Cardinals, and it also resulted in a big player getting injured for them as well, in Carlos Beltran.
That was the most surprising thing for me was Adam Wainwright, because he's basically turned into their ace this whole season, especially this postseason. I didn't expect him to get rocked for, albeit 2 of them were unearned, but still 5 runs in 5 innings. You just can't get that out of your starter in a World Series game to expect to win. The loss of Carlos Beltran, I don't figure if he is out for the series, because he was taken to the hospital after crashing into the
because he was trying
After
to.
the second
He
inning.
had a rib contusion.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. I was going to bring him up.
All right.
Oh,
It's okay.
sneak peek.
Sneak peek into our
Yeah.
future. No,
Should we call it sneak peek instead of spoilers?
No, I like spoiler better.
Can I
Anyways.
talk about him? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
But basically, this it's potentially a huge loss because in the postseason, especially, he is the offense. I mean, his postseason stats overall and this postseason are insane. Actually, have you seen his like career postseason stats? He bats like near 400. It's it's insane, really. And basically, if he's not in that lineup, there isn't. I mean, they can still score runs, but he is the cog that makes it go effectively. And that injury and the Wainwright situation is really my takeaway. That being said, other things to take away we'll get to, I'm sure, as she types watching.
I'm doing social media.
You should do that before the show.
You know, I like to do it when we're live. Be like, hey, we're on right now, so you better tune in. Things like that.
Or we'll like chase you down or something.
Totally. I'll send JoJo out to do it. I wouldn't want him chasing me.
Nobody wants to chase you.
I know. Nobody wants to chase me.
I
Sad
don't
life.
mean that in a bad way.
Sad life.
How is that good?
Eh?
Where's the good?
Because then now zombies won't come after her. When we have the zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
Soundbite. Zombie apocalypse.
I feel like that should be a hashtag for us.
Yeah. Hashtag we're
We
all gonna
have
die.
a Twitter. You guys can hashtag that. Make it trend.
I hashtag on Facebook, and then I like.
We are at
Try
the
and
final
chat.
howl. Better find us.
Wait, what?
That's our Twitter. The final howl.
At the final howl.
The thing that we don't really do anymore. Yeah, that thing.
The final howl. That's what
It's-
our
it's
Facebook
kind of-
thing
it's kind-
is, too.
it
Our
ba-
Facebook address is the final howl.
It basically went the way of the mute.
Yeah.
They're
I
all
should
just
mute
gonna
more.
die.
I should mute more.
You need
I
to.
should. I
We like it
definitely
when you
I've
mute
gotten
us.
I've gotten better about like not saying horrible
I
things.
know. You guys have gotten so politically correct on me. You'd think we're like ESPN or something.
Well, do you
I'm
want us
not-
not to
I'm
be
not
like
really politically
ESPN?
Do not compare me to ESPN.
I can
Oh,
be.
come
I
I,
can
on,
call you
that's
your
like
old
the-
nickname. You
that's
were
like the
Skip
biggest
Bayless,
insult.
right?
I can be
Something
that.
No.
I can be that jerk that just says what's on my mind, which I usually
You
do.
can be the Stephen A.
Yes,
Okay.
I will be the Stephen A. You
that
be the
means you're
Skip
Skip.
Bayless
If he's Stephen A, you have to be Skip.
I think I'd rather be Skip.
or Tim Hasselbeck or something,
I'd
or Mark
much rather be Tim Hasselbeck.
Mark Schlereth.
So, what impressed you from Boston and what unimpressed you from St. Louis?
So what impressed us from Boston? What?
What should St. Louis improve
Jo-
upon tonight?
What should getting Beltran healthy?
Other than that,
Defense. Actually, defense. Yeah. You got two errors from Cosma. Here's the funny thing about Cosma. He's only there for defense.
He's not even in the lineup.
He is not a batter.
Because he was awful.
He's been a horrible batter the whole year.
Yeah.
He's not a batter. He is only there for defense, and you get 2 errors out of him. Okay, man, earn your paycheck. Let's go. Working on defense. Try to find some way to generate offense. Matt Holliday had a home run, but that was pretty much their only source of offense in this whole game. Yeah. So work on that.
So what was
You get
impressive
better.
about Boston?
What was impressive? I was very impressed with John Lester. Did not expect him to be that dominant at all. I called the Cardinals to win this game specifically for Wainwright over Lester. That was my thing. And I'm sure we'll comment more on Lester in a little bit.
oh, we can have that specifically written down. But we can.
What?
I didn't have that
We don't have it.
specifically
Oh,
written down.
the whole fiasco with him doctoring balls.
Oh, I read
Oh,
about
what the
that,
heck
but I
is that?
didn't.
Supposedly there was stuff in his glove that he was using to doctor the baseball.
He was putting a substance on the ball.
Supposedly,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Let's use the proper
That being
terminology.
said, if we're really being honest, pitchers probably doctor balls a lot more than you really think about. If we're
Probably.
being honest about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the days of like the 70s
That's
back when there were
why-
spitballs every game.
Yeah, that's why you always check the cap, because they wipe their fingers on their
What?
cap.
They put,
Yeah.
And they always kind of like lift it up and then snug it again.
I've heard all sorts of tricks. Basically, having a little bit on the inside of the glove, having some on your cap.
We learned all this stuff from Kurt Schilling.
Yeah. Some pitchers used to put Vaseline on their elbows, which was like, oh, I just have dry elbows. Sure. Sure. So you'd see them doing this in the middle of the game, which was really funny to watch. And they can't see it. I'm gonna do it for you guys.
Yeah, lovely.
as I mess with my mic. I remember stuff
You can
about
actually
like
see us now.
I think it was in Colorado that they were doing this, where they would like scuff up the baseballs or something like that, and like put them in a freezer
Oh yeah.
so that they would fly farther. Which, yeah, because you need more help making the baseball fly in Colorado.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Anyway, make a point.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory to the John Lester thing. Here's the thing, like there isn't really like proof at this point, but allegedly he was doctoring the balls. That being said, if he didn't doctor the balls, it's extremely impressive. If he did, it's cheating.
Still impressive.
Doctoring the balls or not, I was also impressed with John Lester. He's kind of known as being an up and down kind of guy. He's mostly that first or second starting pitcher in the Boston lineup. I was really unimpressed with the bats for St. Louis. They were really dead. The only run came for them in the bottom or the top of the eighth, which was just a solo home run by.
It was the ninth.
Oh, it was the ninth. Okay.
Oh.
Matt Holliday hit one in the ninth, and it was pretty much done by then. So I'm hoping that they come alive. The second game they need a must-win. And they got another star pitching in Michael Wacha, Iowa City boy. Iowa City, Iowa boy. But that's going to be interesting to see how he comes about because in the last 4 starts, he is 4-0, and he's been just stellar. And they need him to be stellar against Boston.
I'll make the addendum. If anything else comes out on that Lester case, we will discuss it. But nothing else has really come out. So until that happens, we won't discuss it.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it. Hey, want a fun stat?
No, we're going to
Sure.
move on.
It's really quick. Though.
We're going to move
Hurry
on
up.
to...
Oh, don't care.
Yeah.
Johnny Gomes had 3 at-bats. How many pitches did he see?
3.
1.
No, 7.
I
Still
don't
really
know.
low. Still really low.
So we're going to move on to our next point, which is the controversial call at second base in last night's game. I know Josh watched it because I made him. Did you see it, Nate?
No, I did not. I was actually busy at that time.
You know, you probably should have.
Sorry.
I can pull up. We can't play it with sound, obviously, but we can take a quick peek at it. If it decides to play.
So kind of refresh my memory. Did Carlos Beltran get the catch on the outfield and then he threw it in?
Yeah,
bounds, or?
he got the catch on the outfield. It was one of those plays where he had to lean over the fence and hurt his
rob it.
wrist. But that is not the play in question. I
Mhm.
mean.
And
No,
just
that's not. That was a different play.
Yes.
That
But
was
for those
early
of
in
you
the
that
game.
cannot see this, obviously, unless you're watching ESPN simultaneously, there was a play at second base. I'm not entirely sure which players it was regarding.
It was Carpenter at second base and Kuzma at shortstop.
But the player running.
I have no idea.
Alright. So there was a Red Sox player on offense running from first to second, and St. Louis was on defense, quite obviously. Carpenter, as Josh mentioned, was at second base, and there was a play made at second. I believe it was the first baseman who did second baseman.
No, I thought
It was a
I thought it
play-
was a ground ball to second who threw it to short. Because
I know it was a play from the right side of the field to the second base.
okay.
Here, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm watching. Well, they're talking right now, but they show it eventually. But what happened is they threw it over to the man on second base in attempts to get the play out. The second baseman or the defender at second base was probably a foot off of second base, from what I could tell.
He was really close to the bag.
He was
just
still pretty.
completely.
No, I know, but he was still off the bag. I mean, they show a different angle. His
That being
foot's
said,
completely
there
off
is a
the
call
bag.
called the neighborhood play, where if you're at least in the general vicinity, they give it to you as a defender.
That should not exist. But
Mhm.
anyway, he wasn't on the bag. He was in the vicinity of the bag. I think he was a good 6 inches off the bag. If they ever showed him, it's showing now, so you can see maybe. But they do show the play. They'll show him batting first, obviously. So the guy is off the bag, and they throw it over to.
It was the second baseman throwing it to Kuzma at short. It was Pedroia running.
Okay, so they throw it to the shortstop who's on second base off the bag, and it goes through his glove, just completely misses him.
Actually, he was on the base when the ball got there.
Let's see.
His foot was on the bag.
Oh,
He
well,
just-
it came
he
off.
just
It came
completely-
off when the ball. Came
After the
out,
ball,
Yeah,
after he botched the catch, yeah.
yeah, you're right. And then the ball just completely comes out of his glove. Just totally missed the catch. I don't know how he missed that
It's
catch.
like the fundamental thing. You learn
I know. It was such a short throw, too. And they called Pedroia safe at second base, even though the ball was clearly not caught. They called him safe initially.
No, they called him out initially.
Oh.
Yeah, because that would be
They
kind of weird.
They called him out initially.
Safe.
Farrell came out and complained. The umpires conferred, and they ruled him safe. As was the correct call.
Right.
Yes, because basically, I don't know how the ump got this wrong the first
You're right,
time.
Yeah, I was thinking opposite.
The ump actually had a perfect view of the play.
Yeah, he was standing
I'm
right
assuming
in front.
the ump must have thought that he had the ball.
Yeah, and then he saw the ball
and moving it to
basically,
his throwing hand, he dropped it.
From what I could understand, wow, I didn't see that play. That was interesting.
Yeah, I know. I read about that one. That's kind of funny.
Basically, from what I understood, the call regarding second base, the umpire called Pedroia safe on out on transference. That the ball was dropped during the transfer, not during the catch.
Yes, that he had caught it, and then in the process
he whiffed it, which really he didn't.
He completely whiffed it all the way.
Completely.
Like, it just bounced off the side of his glove, basically.
Definitely. And obviously, St. Louis had a lot of
They had a lot of errors in this game.
a lot of problems in this game.
Well, it just seems, just by looking at these highlights, they're showing all the bad plays.
Yeah,
it depends what you consider an error, technically, because that drop ball wasn't an error, technically.
It should have been.
They just didn't call for it.
It should have been.
Yachty should have taken control.
But it should go down in the book as an error. It should.
Yeah, I know it should.
And so
officially,
should the book or the play at second base.
It did. Officially, there was 3 errors. Officially. Two by Kuzma and 1 by Freeze.
Unofficially, there was probably 7. Just saying.
6.
Because
go 6.
The major leagues, even in like football stuff like that, they don't call errors ever.
Here's the thing, like, I can excuse some errors, but
so
when your singular purpose, you had one job was to play defense. Singular job, you couldn't do it.
So this call at second base, are you glad that they overturned it?
Well, it was obviously wrong. It was extremely wrong in the first place.
It was wrong to call him out, is what you're saying.
I don't get how you can have eyes and be a professional umpire and miss that. Because I've watched the replay like 5 times, okay?
Because what I saw
there.
Because what I saw there is that pretty much when Carpenter was about ready to throw it to first, the ref already called him out, and he made the signal that he was out, but then he changed it and went safe, and he did it like 3 times.
No, he continued to say out.
Really?
The umpire at second base was adamant about
that he was out.
So he's just wrong.
I can't help
what should
because
happen
that surprised me as well.
with an umpire? Really, I see a lot of these with the first place. The first base umpire. They actually wait until 2 seconds before they call it out.
Unless it's a bang.
Unless it's a bang play.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like you just want to make sure his foot's on the bag, the runner's nowhere even close to the bag. You want to make sure 2 seconds and then call it, either safe or out.
How much of an impact do you think this had on the game? Because this hasn't been mentioned, but it occurred fairly early on in the game, and it turned, I believe, a no-run inning, a no-run first inning into a 3-run first inning. So it completely affected the score.
Well, if he had been called out, it would have had a big impact. If he had stayed called out,
it would have been a no-run inning.
Yeah, then that would have been huge. But the fact that they got it right, it being right, I don't think had any change. It turned out as it should have turned out from the beginning.
Yeah, but
the fact that the manager had to come out and complain about it and get it all fixed, I don't think this is a World Series. I mean, everybody's supposed to be amped up for this anyways.
But I mean, do you think if that hadn't happened and it had been, kept the same ruling, do you think the Cardinals would have won?
To be honest with you, I don't think they would have.
I don't know if they would have won because
they might have kept it close, but I don't think they would have pulled it off.
It just wouldn't have been so many runs that inning. It came down to the same. I think it would have come down to the same thing. Wainwright didn't quite have it that game. Yeah. Lester did. That was just kind of the way it would have gone. I mean, it's so hard to really.
I don't know,
like,
but I mean,
crystal ball. I don't know.
That's one of the big questions they're asking. I mean, did this really affect the play of the game?
I mean, obviously it affects it, but there's no way we can change it. It's just kind of the way it went.
And you have analysts coming on saying that, that should have been called out. They should have just went with what the second base ref said it was. But really, I think what the refs did with conferring, having a little conference, I think they did the right thing in making sure that, okay, this is what we saw in our position. What did you see?
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't have any issue with
He keeps saying out.
just repeatedly.
Okay, and just look from here where I was at. It looked like he turned it to save.
I don't have much issue with umps conferring for a call and that kind of stuff after the fact. I really don't.
But that's it's a clear, like he
Yeah,
had no
exactly.
control of the ball and he still calls it out.
I love the slow-mo.
If I was a ref at that position, I would have held my ground for a little bit and then said save.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing.
I know it's the heat of the moment. It's the biggest series
I'm
in
figuring
the
same
MLB.
thing.
But
The same thing happened with the ump that probably happened with Kuzma, the big moment, or everything. And these umps have chosen for this game and everything, and you have to earn your status up there. But still, this is a huge deal for a lot of them. I mean, I have no idea if this is that ump's first World Series. I have no idea.
I honestly don't know. I would have to look into that. I don't know who the umpires were last night.
Well, it's right there actually.
But it's still a huge deal. I mean, unless this was like his 15th World Series, I mean that's.
No, it's from previous game.
Okay, gotcha.
But I am a little iffy with it being spurred by Farrell coming out to complain about it.
Because you think that what he was trying to complain maybe spurred them going.
It feels like almost a challenge in football, like how. But in baseball they don't have challenge systems, but the manager can just come out and complain. In pretty much any other situation, I see a manager come out and complain, he's getting tossed.
Yeah, really.
But in this situation, it caused them to completely overturn an out call. I don't know that's a little gray for me. If they had conferred themselves, like if the home plate umpire, who also had a decent view of the play, had been like, I don't know about that, let's confer about this, then I'd be perfectly fine with that. But I'm not quite sold on the idea of a manager coming out and debating a play and causing them to confer. That's the gray area for me. And I can't really,
Which they are. I think, weren't they trying to implement challenges for these managers, later?
They're trying to implement, instant
more
replay.
replays.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another point.
now-
I mean, should
now-
replays be expanded in baseball?
And that's, I think that's probably what should happen.
At this point, probably.
Because then you have a clear cut that if the refs are really not sure, instant replay. I know it's going to drag the game on more, but you get the call right.
Here's what I have on that, though. I don't think that replay should be at the discretion of the manager. I think it should be at the discretion of the umpires.
And then make it a rule like that.
Yeah,
I would say that
because
too.
otherwise, that's when the game gets slowed down. When
Yep.
the manager, every time a call doesn't go his way, wants to go replay it.
Yeah.
That's when the game's getting slowed
Well, I
down.
mean, but you can regulate that fairly easily. It's just like in football, you get 2 red flags. I mean, give the manager one challenge.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
one.
One
The
challenge.
entire game, just one challenge.
But sometimes you need more. Sometimes there's a lot of iffy calls.
Sometimes you need more than 2 in football.
If you have a particularly sucky umpire crew, then you gotta challenge
Sometimes
more.
you need more than 2 in football. They don't get more than 2 in football.
Oh, I just figured
You gotta
it'd be
make-
perfectly
you gotta make
fine if it was
restrictions.
at the umpire's discretion.
I think it'd be okay if the coaches did too. Just have a check system. It's fine. I mean, college players or college athletes, coaches do that too. They have their red flags too. Same thing.
Yeah,
Same thing.
just with baseball, just make it just one challenge, and then
I
any
agree.
other call that's very close,
Then
it's
make
up
it
to
the
ref.
umpire's
Yeah,
discretion.
and then make it
Okay,
umpire's discretion.
Because
I can go for that.
I mean, umpires are not referees.
Yeah,
in football
we're not
have their own
perfect.
discretion
Yeah,
too.
if you're going to do it with having the one challenge, you have to also know where the umpire
Exactly, and that's what they do in
Yeah.
football. You know, the referees.
to an extent.
Right, I know
kinda.
to an extent, but I mean, generally, if the referees question it, they will go to the booth. That's what happens in football. And
Okay.
if they don't, then the coach has to
Yeah, see, I can get behind that. It's not like.
I wasn't saying
No,
just
no.
the coaches.
It's not
or
like it
just-
was like 5 years ago where everybody was like, instant replay, it's going to make the games like 5 hours. Well, you're already sitting there for 3, might as well sit there a little longer. So you get the right call, yeah, I'd rather wait there a little longer and make sure all the calls are right.
I do think it's a fun flashback moment because apparently, and I didn't know this because I wasn't alive in 1985, but apparently in 1985 there was a blown call when the Cardinals were in the World Series. And everyone's saying how it's so similar.
It's almost similar to this one.
Because that one didn't get overturned. And they're like, oh, it made the difference in the entire series. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Interesting facts. I'll put that article
Which
on
really,
Facebook.
I think it was just the Cardinals didn't come to play game one.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have 2 errors, but then you add the third one, making it 3. And just some of the miscues by a lot of their players, it just really ended up losing the game for them. And I don't think if that play was an out play, if Cardinals would have come back, because they were still, I know it was still 0-0, but it was kind of, Boston had the upper hand, and they were showing that they did, because they were getting people on base, and St. Louis just had trouble at bats. So
Right, I just threw that on Facebook, and we're going to take our first break here and come back with, I believe we have a little bit more baseball to talk about. We're going to talk about tonight's game here on Make Your Points, 91.1 Cat Radio. You can probably know if JoJo's not coming, because I think he'd be here by now.
I'm thinking of moving that one because I don't want to hold this all night.
That's fine.
So I think I'm going to.
Wait, what?
I'm going to move to this one over here.
Oh, okay.
If JoJo's not coming, he would be here by now.
Yeah, I think he would have been here. Probably forgot.
I don't care.
I'm trying to. I found the umpire. I can't figure out how many times he's called games.
Look up his record.
The umpire is.
Are we coming on cold?
Yeah, we always do. I don't have an intro or anything.
Oh, we did. We had the dun dun dun.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
It's too long.
Dana
I need like a 10-second.
That's fine. Well, you should be just now back to make your point on that.
Right.
On point wood. Just make sure I'm on 4.
I know. It's a party.
Dana the move. Dana the move. Oh!
And we're back here on 91.1 Cat Radio. I'm your host, Victoria Harmony. With me, Josh Earl and Nathan Poole.
I have
Josh has
update
me.
information. The second base umpire that made that incorrect call was Dana DeMuth, who is working his 4th World Series.
He's one of the more respected umpires from what I read.
Yeah.
Moving on.
fact.
Moving on to tonight's game. We'll hit Beltron quickly before we discuss any projections for tonight's game. So what kind of an impact do you think Beltron's injury is going to have, not just on tonight, but on the rest of the series?
Huge.
Big.
I honestly, if he's out for the... Yeah, you need to turn his mic on.
I'm not that high.
Come on, get it
I'm-
together.
Can you hear me? I
Yeah.
can't hear my. There
I
we go.
hit the
can
on
hear my-
button,
Yeah.
to be fair. It's just
You
4
just-
doesn't like people.
You have it too low.
Because 4 has to be lower. Trust me.
Okay, I'll stay this. There we go. I can hear myself now. I'll stay as far away as I can.
Bold prediction that's really not that bold. If Beltran's injured for the rest of the series, they do not win the series.
Oh yeah,
Flat out.
flat out. They will. I guess they'll compete, but with Beltran without him in there, he just doesn't solidify that
Well, yeah, I
roster.
mean, they got to the World Series. They're still a good team even without him, but they're just not going to have enough for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I think really, I'm with you, saying that if they don't get Beltran for the rest of the series, they're done. And I could see this series going 5.
Especially if he's out.
Yeah.
If he's in, I still actually, no, wait, I'll wait.
What do you mean,
I'll
no,
wait
wait?
for your prod.
My proud about what?
I don't know, what's the next topic?
We're talking about tonight's game.
Oh.
Tonight's game.
Okay, it is Waka for the Cardinals versus
And
Lackey for
Lackey.
the Red
Yep.
Sox. Lackey's actually been pretty good this season.
Lucky's 10-13.
You know
That's
what? For
good, I
him,
guess.
that's good.
I guess that's good.
For him, in the last 7 years, that's really good. Okay.
He has a 3.52 ERA.
After he got a Cy Young, didn't he?
It's been 161 Ks.
After Cy Young,
And
he
really,
imploded.
and really, what I've been hearing too, it's like they're really putting a lot of pressure on Waka, and it's kind of like that slogan. It's up to you now, kid. Because if they go down 2-0, it's going to be even tougher.
Yeah.
And even though the next 3 games are in St. Louis, correct?
Yeah,
Is it 2-3-2?
It's a 2-3-2, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why they keep changing it.
but it's when you have that, it's going to be really, really. I guess you have 3 straight home games, but if one of those is won by Boston, you can pretty much say the season's over for the Cardinals.
They have the same record. That's fun. They're
So-
both 97 and 65,
Fun facts for the win.
right?
Yeah.
So Waka, I would hate to see an Iowa boy put into this situation because I'm from Iowa and I like Iowa boys, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that way. I'm not that person.
Anyway, projections for tonight. We'll just do that quick since we're talking about it anyway.
Projections for tonight, I
I
think.
can give you lineups if you need lineups as well.
I have lineups.
Is Beltran actually starting?
No, he was just released from the hospital yesterday.
I don't know. They have him.
Okay, so
he's
maybe-
day-to-day basis. So
Gotcha.
they're planning on starting him, but again, he's day-to-day basis. So if he's not healthy by game time, clearly he's not going to start.
Well, Alan Craig did it too.
Mm-hmm.
He's
he
one of the
played in game 1.
yeah I know
He did.
he's one of the X factors in this lineup for the Cardinals too.
I think he's still rusty though. He's still rusty.
But he needs to get
Which
back
makes
to the
sense.
flow of things.
Well,
But
he's been out like the whole season.
Yeah.
my prediction tonight, Lackey has a rough game, and Walker actually pitches a solid 7-8 innings of good ball. And he only allows 1 run in those 7 to 8 innings. I'm going to make a bold prediction.
And no, Josh, you're not allowed to say conditionals.
And Cardinals win if Beltran does not play.
No, we're not making that conditional. No one's allowed to make the
Hedge.
conditional about
We
Beltran.
must hedge.
No.
Okay. So I'm going to say 3-1 Cardinals win tonight.
I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
I think the Red Sox will walk up. Literally.
Because too much pressure?
Yeah, too much pressure, plus the lineup is just solid. The lineup for the Cardinals without Beltran is not completely solid.
So
It's
Bo
really
Sox.
Bo Sox, I don't think it's even really that close. I think 7-2.
Alright, we'll talk about some future games because I did see an article about Buckles. He's not going to be pitching in game 3 because he has fatigue. So he will not be pitching until game 4.
Didn't he come off Tommy John though?
Not
Like in
recently.
2012?
I don't believe.
I'm not 100% sure, actually.
I thought I heard a story on them saying that he got injured maybe early this season and had Tommy
Buckles
John.
missed 3 months of the regular season with neck and shoulder issues before returning to make 4 starts in September.
Okay, so maybe it was
Tommy John, if he had it this year, he would not.
Yeah,
Right.
he wouldn't be.
Well, it would be
pitching.
really, really unlikely. Like, it's happened once or twice.
No,
It's not
not in season.
Not even with Strasburg.
like
Not in season. Strasburg got shut down.
Yeah, well, he had Tommy John surgery, and then
Yeah.
he didn't play for like an entire
Oh,
year.
oh,
I don't see
Well,
anything,
stars,
in,
that's
at
fine.
least in this article about Tommy John's regarding it. But he will not be making an appearance until Game 4 of the World Series. Do you think this will have an impact?
If he appears in Game 4, because it's still kind of day-to-day because of the fatigue.
But at the very earliest, he won't appear in game.
Yeah, if his
And
arm
he's
is
usually
rubber, he
there.
won't be in there then. What does this...
Do you think this will impact the
Come
series?
game 4, if the series tie.
With Boston's rotation, do you think will be a big
Boston's
difference?
rotation's really solid, though. So I think they'll be okay if he can't pitch. That being said, I would rather they skip him entirely and go with another direction. Because Ryan Dempster, they're using him out of the pen at this point. He's capable of starting. They have Peavy, Lackey.
Peavy's
and
getting
Lester.
the nod in game 3 now.
Yep. Peavy's getting the nod in Game 3. You could still have Lester. You could possibly start in Game 4, depending on how much rest there is. I think that's actually like 4 or 5 days of rest between Game 1 and Game 4. So it's not
Game
that.
3 is Saturday. They don't.
Yeah, so there's a pretty decent amount of rest in there. So I figure, if he can't, I would rather they skip him and go with someone else from their pretty much plethora of arms they have, than have him throw out there with a noodle arm.
True. And in fear of having wild pitches or hitting batters for the worst case scenario.
Plus the thing with arm fatigue, I mean that's something that could be a long-term thing if they don't try to rest it. He's a pretty young guy right now, and he's part of the future of their team. They have all these huge contracts of pitchers that should be coming up in the next couple of years here, and he's supposed to be a long-term piece basically for them. And also the factor that I forgot where I was going with this. The arm fatigue, he just won't be especially useful. You don't have velocity, you don't have the stamina.
And you have balls going 60 over the plate where that's very hittable.
Switch out that green monster.
Yeah, exactly.
All the doubles.
If you have any thoughts, we'd be happy to hear them. 605-677-6477. Throw up a comment on our Facebook page, our Ustream channel. We'll chat back as easily as we can. It's not as easy on this show as on Distorted Wave.
We will chat back when we see it.
Definitely. I'm trying to keep an eye on everything. But go ahead and give us your thoughts on who you think is going to win tonight and who you think is going to win the series. Don't mess with things. That's going to open a browser. I don't want a browser.
No.
Quit my Safari.
My bad.
You didn't quit my
What? How?
Where's your Safari?
Up in the corner.
No, just don't touch anything.
Okay.
Just don't touch anything.
You ruined
This is why you don't
everything.
touch things. Open it up on your computer. The link's on Facebook.
There you go.
Anyways. comments, go ahead and give us your comments. We would love to have them. We'd love to talk with you about it. We'll even put you on air if you want to call in, because why not?
Yes, we love people who call in.
Moving on, that is all I had for baseball, because obviously the series is still ongoing, so we'll be discussing it again next week, after it's over.
Yeah, plus we just talked like 45 minutes on baseball.
Which is, well, only about 30, because we waited about 10 minutes for JoJo, so.
And we kind of just talked about our day.
Yeah, and the haunted house.
Yeah. Which took up 10 minutes.
Right, but both of you are still taking Go Sox for the series, yes?
Yes.
I believe you both picked Go Sox earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to move into NFL and look at some games that happened last week.
Yes.
Since we're running a little bit short, y'all can pick one, and we'll discuss it.
Oh, boy.
Wait. Oh,
Which-
sorry.
NFL.
Which one to pick? Well,
You're talking games
you
from last
might go
week.
biased. You might go biased on this one, Victoria. So
I
I'm
might,
not
but,
gonna
you
pick
know.
that game. I'm gonna go with the
It's
Jets.
double biased because I like the quarterback on
Yeah.
the team too.
I'm gonna go to the Jets and Patriots.
That's a
I
big one.
was not expecting the Patriots to be this terrible
Especially coming off of their
Yeah.
win against
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans.
And they kind of came out, and Brady did not have the game that I was expecting him to have. And the team was just lackluster the entire time. So I was not surprised that the Patriots ended up losing this one, because it seems like Geno Smith, after a bad game, he comes back and performs.
Yeah.
So next week, he will have a terrible game, and they will be at 500 again.
Oh, actually, I'm not going to homer this one or bias
So,
this one. I was
it's-
going to pick another game.
It's disheartening to see how off and on the Jets are, but it's even more disheartening to see the Patriots lose against the Jets. So
I'm not as disheartened by the Jets as, I don't know, I enjoy watching Geno Smith. I enjoyed him in college, as you both know. But,
Yep.
I mean, I think he's actually performing better than I expected in his first season as a professional quarterback. Definitely. I didn't think he
he's
would do
mature.
this well. Mm-hmm.
and he solidified that job from Sanchez, so Sanchez is pretty much out of there.
Yeah.
I don't think Sanchez is going to have another shot to see the starting position in the Jets
Do you
organization.
think he can go somewhere else? Just a quick question.
Maybe.
Yes, no. Maybe. All right,
Hey,
Josh.
Cowboy.
Jacksonville's looking.
Raiders.
Hey, did you
Jacksonville's
know
looking.
Oakland's going to play in London next year?
I hate the whole playing in London idea. I
The
really
Cowboys
do.
are going to play in London too.
I really-
But your game, we're not talking about London
There's a
games.
ton of games, basically, that are really interesting.
We're not talking about London games today. Though. So
He's
just
I
pick
wasn't
one.
talking-
I know.
yeah, he's getting his.
I know. Just pick one.
There's a
Don't
bunch
say
of games.
Just one.
What? I
Just-
know.
Just say the one you're picking.
Then stop talking and let me talk.
Yeah.
You don't need to
Um,
build up.
Bills and Dolphins show that the Dolphins were, as I kind of said at the beginning, pretenders. Hey, fun things. When you get beat by a third-string quarterback, there was a problem. Yeah. So, have fun with that.
And
With
they
all your- with all
actually-
your money you threw around.
They
Tannehill still had a good game, to be fair.
they have a good
Yeah, three
matchup
touchdowns.
coming up against the Patriots, though. Patriots can have a rebound game against Miami, and so can Miami.
I kind of put Miami wins. But anyways,
I'm hoping they do too.
I'm actually not going to pick the bias pick. You thought I was going to. I'm going to go
Okay.
somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm going to pick I have to see who they played. The Texans and Chiefs. I'm going to pick that game.
Mm.
Because
Oh, that surprising.
I was quite impressed with how Case Keenum played. And I was
How he
hoping he
handled
would do so.
himself.
Definitely. Because he almost came out and beat one of the undefeated teams. Like, the only undefeated team now, right?
Yep.
The Chiefs are the
Yep.
only undefeated team yet.
Yep.
And I feel that's very impressive to come out. I mean, to come in that kind of pressure situation, be like, oh, hey, you're going to start your first NFL game ever. Oh, hey, it's against the only undefeated team left. Oh, hey, no big deal. We only have 2 wins. You can do it. You can do it,
They weren't
Case.
the only undefeated team at the time.
Yeah.
They were coming into this week, I thought.
Fun fact, though.
Oh,
In-
yeah,
into
there was
this
2.
week they are.
There was 2.
You know why I don't really credit the Chiefs as much as everybody wants to jump on their bandwagon? Their strength of schedule is pathetic. They have played Jacksonville, Dallas, Philly, New York, Tennessee, Oakland,
Which
and
New York?
Texans.
Yeah, they actually.
New
New
actually
York
is-
Giants.
And,
Pathetic.
and really, it's kind of their later part of the schedule where they get into some of their bigger games with Denver, and then one more game with Houston.
I mean, they played Denver twice.
Yeah, because it's division.
And
and
they
then
play
Colts.
They play some other teams that might knock them off, and that's basically about it. That being said, they
I was still impressed with
up
Case.
until-
I mean, that was pretty
well,
much
yeah.
the whole thing.
I just want my social commentary on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Up until this last week, they were effectively the Louisville of the NFL.
Mm.
Yeah, you could possibly say that. Especially when you called that game to be a
And
game to
technically they
watch.
still are because they're still undefeated. But
Who did?
You called the UCF Louisville game last week
Did I?
to be a very good game.
yeah, he said it was going to be a good game, but he said Louisville was going to win.
Oh, well,
But I said this last week. I liked Keenum in Houston. I still like him. He's still in Houston.
I don't know.
I'm
a little
for
iffy.
his first
I don't know.
ever
For his
start.
first ever start.
Well, yeah,
And let's look at
he
his
did
stats.
15 for 25 for 271 yards.
I know,
and
but
a
I want to see
touchdown.
more.
But he did have a costly fumble
Okay.
that ended up in a score. But you really can't put it all on him. It's his line.
Also, he was dealing with the loudest
He
stadium.
was sacked 5
Actually,
times.
now the loudest stadium
Yep.
ever.
Yep.
Yep,
Supposedly.
He was sacked 5 times for a 50-yard loss, which is kind of a big deal. But
For 50 yards total.
well, yeah,
Not a 50-yard loss.
I know a 50-yard loss with a 5. I didn't say 50-yard loss with a 1.
I've seen like 25-yard sacks before. They're kind of fun
yeah.
to watch as people run backwards.
Terrell Pryor. Your golden
That
boy.
was 3rd and 48.
And they couldn't even punt it 48
I
yards.
know.
Even more terrible.
I know.
Okay,
But
continue.
yeah, no, I was very impressed with how he performed, and I think he did well. And I'm hoping that they give him more chances because, like I said,
They will,
I'm
'cause
kind of a
why
fan
not?
of him. Yeah.
At this point.
So we still have a minute. Let's talk about Indy and Denver because obviously that's the game to talk about.
What,
There's a lot of
what do
games
you
to
want to
look.
talk about that game? Manning's
what?
performance?
Sure. Let's talk about his performance. Were you impressed?
Well-
Were you disappointed?
Well, I expected it out of him. I think he had 3 touchdown passes, right?
Yeah.
And a pick.
Yep.
Pick, which really wasn't his... Well, yeah, it really wasn't his fault. It was deflected, and then linebacker was there to intercept it.
Pretty much most of his picks have been actually deflections.
Yeah.
Oh,
Except for the Jacksonville one.
Quick congratulations to the Giants for getting their first win.
Yes. And now we realize which
And
team
Steelers
is the
getting their
worst.
second.
Yeah, how abysmal
Steelers
was
got
Josh
their
Freeman?
second.
We
Yeah.
can truly say which team is the worst now. And is just... And it's...
The
Yeah,
worst
so
by
it's not
record.
the worst
maybe
by
not the
record.
worst by,
Jaguars.
yeah. They're going to be a winless team so
Yeah.
far.
And Tampa Bay is winning.
I think. Oh yes, they are.
Oh yes, but
Because
Tampa
we'll
Bay had a
talk,
bye
we'll talk
week.
about
That's the only
Shiano.
difference.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
let's talk about Shiano.
We're talking about Indy and Denver quickly before our time runs out.
I really liked how, going away from Manning, I liked how Luck played. Too bad that they lost Reggie Wayne for the rest of the season, and even Andrew Luck put all the blame on himself for throwing just a badly underthrown pass. They still won the game. It was going to be a shootout either way. Both teams had to score at least 30 points. But yeah, I was, I guess, not surprised in how the Colts played. I don't know.
I was surprised.
The
And
Colts.
that's coming from a Colts fan. I was surprised they won.
Well, the Colts, I don't know, like they just come out and kind of surprised. They had one really terrible loss early.
Do you guys
I don't know who that
realize
was.
that they have faced against 3 stellar teams and beat all of them?
Yeah, that's why there's now talk of them being a possible Super Bowl. I think as far as the AFC goes, they are the best threat to the Broncos.
And then they could
AFC.
possibly be that sleeper.
They
Because
could-
a lot of
they could
people
be some-
overestimate the Colts.
Yeah, and Andrew Luck is
Or
making,
not overestimate, underestimate. the
Andrew
Colts.
Luck is making a strong case to be amongst the elite in his second season, which is
just
pretty insane.
spectacular.
He recognized what they needed to do, which against that Denver defense is throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The Denver offense is fantastic. I mean, you had Decker going for 150, Welker for 96, and Thomas for 82. But that Denver passing defense is not especially solid.
And even with returner Von Miller in there after his 6-game suspension, he was nowhere to be seen. Von Miller really didn't make an impact on that defensive line, which whoever was in that position actually did a better job than he did in one game. So it's Von Miller, maybe he just needs to sit out a couple more games, and maybe they don't really need him. Since he's been getting in all these problems, I think last year he had problems with drugs and things like
He's
that.
had an issue since he got into the league.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a red lights going off in that organization on whether they need to keep Miller or not.
I was also just really impressed with Indianapolis defense. So
And
they were really iffy early in the season. But they've really come
and they're
to their
still
own.
really young, but
And I
they
was
still have quite a
thinking-
ways to go.
I mean,
but they definitely did
forcing
step up.
if you can force at least 5 punts against a
Yeah.
Peyton Manning-led offense, you have a very strong chance to win the game.
And
I mean, I'm still a little bit iffy on it because they did allow 33 points, but
they have a
you know.
tendency to break instead of bending, basically.
I was quite interested on, I guess, how talented the secondary was. Because in the San Diego game, it seemed like they had no-namers. And then you had Vontae Davis playing, and I was like, oh, I didn't know they had him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
they
had...
did a really good job. Picking people up.
They have
Mathis? Rasheed Mathis, maybe?
Yeah, they've had Mathis since he was
I didn't really...
drafted.
I haven't
they-
really
Don't they have a LaRon
known he was
Landry?
there.
I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
Landry.
LaRon Landry,
He's a big
which I
hitter.
had no clue he was there.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
they have a great. I mean, their secondary's always been better than their defense because their defense was the young part, but their secondary.
The beauty of
always
that
has
secondary, though, is
experience.
like they picked up the scrap parts. They're like really quality players, really talented players, but the parts that just weren't all around, so other teams didn't want
Right,
them.
right.
Like Landry, people have known him for a long time as a huge hitter.
Yeah,
He's a really heavy hitter.
yeah,
so,
no.
but other teams didn't want to keep him because he gets burned pretty easily in
Yeah.
coverage.
Because he goes for the just all
But
ball.
the corner situation with the Colts, they have really quick young corners and they
Mm-hmm.
can keep up with people, so he can just do what he does and hit people.
Exactly.
And Vontae Davis pretty much held Demarius Thomas to
4 catches.
Four
It was 4
catches.
catches. Albeit for 82 yards, but it
and
was 4 catches.
and Vontae Davis had the inside position the entire night too. He did not have anybody beat him downfield, which is that's what the Colts need if they're going to be a contender in the playoffs.
Yeah, one problem I did have with the Colts, though, as much as this become a passing league and everything like that, Trent Richardson continues to disappoint me. You have to
He
have
had a critical
some
fumble.
sort of rushing game. Pretty much the closest thing to a rushing game they have right now is Andrew Luck running
Yeah.
it.
To be fair,
And Donald
their bigger
Brown is-
rusher, Reggie,
Donald Brown
Reggie
is-
Wayne's one of their bigger rushers too. He got hurt, right? Or is Reggie
Oh,
Wayne?
Reggie
Wayne's
Wayne's
a
a
receiver.
receiver.
Okay. I know he
What?
rushed before. He does rush sometimes.
Well, yeah, they had
Whatever.
Darius Hayward-Bay run for 30 yards on one
Yeah.
Yeah,
rush.
those are reverse plays.
Sometimes receivers rush.
He's really fast. That's like his one skill. He's
And
really fast.
like I know they're probably focused on Donald Brown being their starter, and Richardson's in there for 3rd and 2, the big tough yardage that they need. But really, you don't put him in there on the first down play, and I think that's what they did.
They're both bull rushing backs. The problem is they both
Donald
have
Brown is more elusive though.
They have horrible yard per carry averages, and Donald Brown should not be a starter, really.
As,
on a playoff
as
quality
wonderful as
team.
this
You
commentary
just need-
is,
you need a
we
better
need to
running
move
back.
on, guys. But
Yeah, sorry.
I do want to make one quick social commentary. I think this actually does, and I'm going to be terribly biased, but I think this does finally dispute the RG3 versus Andrew Luck theory. Who was the better quarterback?
Oh,
To be
dude,
fair,
I could've-
RG3 went through an injury.
To be fair.
I still say that Andrew Luck would be better.
I think
He's.
I was just making that point.
Well,
I think it's disputed.
I think last year I kind of went on air and saying like, rookie of the year, I would still give it to Andrew Luck because look at the team he had
I know.
in
that
his
was
first
the point.
season,
That was the point.
and
I
then
brought up
everybody's
to you.
like, oh, but RG3 kind of came out of nowhere and blah blah blah, and it's like, no, I'm
No,
not
no.
changing my mind.
I'm like the one that told you that. But yeah,
I told you that too, though.
you're a liar.
I am not. I
So
didn't
let's talk
bandwagon.
about
off you.
Shiano.
Shano.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shiano.
There's now billboards asking for him to be fired.
Yes, there
Oh,
are.
boy.
Yeah, and there's been so many people coming out and talking about how he needs to get. And basically, I read an article earlier this morning, actually, well, afternoon, because that's when I wake up. I read an article this afternoon that was talking about how they had a joint practice with Patriots, okay, and he told his players to listen to everything Bill Belichick was saying, and he was basically being an errand boy for Bill Belichick in this joint practice. Which in the NFL. You can't respect a coach that's running around for another coach. And basically that kind of stuff. There's been numerous players coming out. I think Dexter Jackson, was it? Correct me?
Or Vincent Jackson.
Dexter Jackson. He was the Super Bowl MVP back in 2002 or something like that, when they won the Super Bowl.
I'm looking at the pretty legit billboard.
he-
online.
That is a pretty legit billboard.
Right.
He still has a executive position with the team, basically scouting and that kind of stuff. And he was going to practices, and Shiano chased him out of practice, basically. And there's been all sorts of this kind of information coming out. I'd like to give credit to where credit's due. Those came from CBS Sports. Thanks. And basically, you're just hearing all this horrible stuff. And then you hear about the MRSA stuff, and basically players being treated horribly and not wanting to play for them. I don't blame them, really.
Sounds
At this point.
it's in that organization. It sounds like Shiano is starting to become a dictator.
That's
his team.
that was part of the article I read actually.
Oh, okay.
Was that he was trying to someone said he has a little man complex.
So, do you guys think Shiano should be fired? I know we're cutting this
I'm
a little bit
amazed
short,
he's
but
still there.
Yeah, I'm really amazed.
I can't believe that he let him stay after all this stuff. It's
We're gonna
astounding.
Especially with the whole
That topic
controversy
is a
with
little bit
Freeman
short.
and now this MRSA stuff, and even how he's behaving in these practices. That would be red lights all over the field.
I'm kind of questioning the ownership of the Buccaneers at this point. That after all of this has come out, he's still there.
He's still there.
He's still there. It's
He
insane
needs,
to me.
yeah, he really does. He needs to be fired.
I figure if he's not fired,
If
in the next couple
he's
weeks,
there,
at
if
the end
he's
of
there for
season,
the
he'll
remainder of the
wait.
season, that's probably the worst decision you could.
Alright, so we're going to cut that one a little bit short. Like I said, we're running a little bit short on time. We want to do power rankings, but I definitely want to talk about this.
Oh, we haven't done that in a really long
I know,
time.
I want to talk about this article now because I found it really funny. So, the Rams
Oh.
allegedly called Brett Favre to come out of retirement because, if you're not aware, Sam Bradford had a season-ending injury this last week.
Yes, he's
ACL tear.
His
ACL.
ACL tear. Correct. I knew he had an injury. I didn't know if it was a shoulder or his ACL. Bradford, to be fair, is really injury prone. Like, he's worse than
Yeah.
Stafford. And I thought Stafford was bad.
The Rams team as a whole is pretty injury prone.
But apparently they called Brett Favre to come out of retirement.
Which it was true. It was confirmed that they did call him.
I think it was Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
Of
And-
ESPN. This is all
And much to our surprise, Favre declined.
I know. He's
I'm
too
not
old,
surprised.
he said.
No.
He's 44 and he's a grandpa.
He said the game was too physical for him.
He's
That
been,
too.
He's been called a couple times since he retired, and he's always said no.
That's because every time he's retired, like the next year he comes back. Brett Favre syndrome.
But
Yeah.
I'm
but
gonna
pretty much
retire. Just get everybody to go play for Minnesota
But
now.
Brett
He
Favre
even
means
said-
Andy Pettit syndrome.
he
Brett Favre did first.
he respectfully declined and also said that he was actually officially retired
Finally.
from the game. So
As
it's
he was supposed to be
don't
like
call
I
him.
just wanted to bring that up. I just thought it was a really funny.
But
Teams
hey,
are going
there's
to
a-
keep calling him until he's like 50. He's
there's
going to
a-
be the Jamie Moyer of football.
There's a 40-year-old guy or 43-year-old guy that still thinks he can play. Anybody know who that is? Jeff Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the running.
He
Come
came
on.
out. He's looking gray, man. He came out. And,
He said he could still play though.
Yeah, he can. Well, I mean, he can. He
If
can move
comes-
pretty well for a 43-year-old man.
If he comes back in, he will pretty much solidify the oldest player ever to play the game properly.
He was no, there'll be a kicker, Morton Anderson.
Oh.
One of the Anderson brothers. Well, like
Maybe
45.
the oldest quarterback to play.
Yeah.
Which Vinny Testaverde holds that with age 43.
Yeah, Testaverde was still
So
good
if Garcia
at
comes back in, Garcia will probably turn 44.
Garcia came out and said
soon.
he was shocked that the Browns hadn't called him. And the Browns instead went out and got Brady Quinn and some other no-name person I never heard of.
Oh.
No, Brady Quinn went to the Rams.
I thought it was... Oh, my bad. Who the Browns... No, the Browns picked up somebody.
They have Jason Campbell starting, which
Uh,
he was already
my
on the
bad.
roster.
Different QB situations. And I also read an article this morning, afternoon, whatever.
They can talk about the Brady Quinns and the Barclays because Barclays over at Philly now.
Yeah. Anyhow, let's see. Vince Young is
Oh yeah.
dumbfounded that he's not getting any calls, and he's like, my entire family, my agent, my wife, me, I'm dumbfounded. Why is anybody giving me? Maybe because you're bad. maybe
Well,
maybe
you know-
because you
Dude,
actually don't
I
throw
would have
very
been.
well.
I would have been okay if he was in Green Bay right now. We
I-
need a quarterback, which we really don't.
Why?
In case Rodgers goes down, we need a good
He never
backup.
goes
Which
down.
You know who needs a
Seneca
quarterback?
Wallace
Minnesota.
is not good.
Seneca Wallace is a more capable backup than Vince Young.
I would have to disagree.
He is not a starter, but he's a capable backup.
Gosh, you're talking to a Texas fan. Do you know where Vic went to, or not Vic? Do you know where Chris Young went to
in
college?
Texas.
Texas, yeah.
You're not going to convince him.
I don't care. No, I'm gonna try.
And it's
All
not
right,
just on
as
solely
fun
that point.
as quarterback talks are, and as necessary as they are for our show, we need to move on to our power rankings because we're going to go over time.
Sure.
So you're both, since JoJo's not here, we're still going to keep it for two teams. So your top two teams of the AFC and the NFC because we're pretty much halfway through the season and we need to rank things.
AFC, Broncos and Colts. Still.
Yeah, I would actually. I'd have to go that too.
I'm not.
I would still put Broncos number one, even though the Colts beat
Yeah.
them. But
That's where I put two. I need another loss or two really to change that.
Yeah.
And I don't put the Chiefs up there. The Chiefs, to me, are actually a distant third because I do look at that strength of schedule.
And you also look at what their offense has been doing. It's done nothing. Jamal Charles,
is their offense.
He is their offense.
Well, that's what they wanted.
They're mostly
That's what
winning.
they want.
They're mostly winning these games off defense.
Well, their defense is very, very good.
Yeah.
And they had game management. That's what they
and
wanted.
that's going to bite them in the butt, though,
And
if
the
their offense can
NFC.
score.
I need to look at
The NFC.
Oh.
Seattle's one of them. In my opinion.
Seattle and... No, actually, I put... No, Seattle, New Orleans in that order.
I wouldn't put New Orleans.
Oh, I mean, they got beat by the Patriots.
Yeah, but that was a fluke game.
Yeah, that's why I put them
bad
second.
defense.
So,
I'd put Seattle number 1. I'm trying to think of all the teams.
The next closest in record is San Francisco, for your information.
Yeah.
And then you got Green Bay, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago. Chicago, who has Cutler that's out.
Yeah,
for
sad to
couple
say.
weeks.
I'd probably put San Fran up there. It'd be
That's
Seattle
possible.
1, San Fran 2.
I just saw San Fran get their butts whooped a few too many times.
By the Colts.
fun fact, Tony Romo has the most passing yards in his first 100 starts.
Yes.
Kind of helps when you gun it.
Right? He's not a bad passer.
Kind
But
of
we're
helps.
gonna
Kind
move
of
on.
helps when you have no running game.
We are going to move on.
Now.
Because the Phillies passing game is so much better.
Oh,
We're going to move on to a break. And we're coming back with college action. So keep listening to Make Your Point here on 91.1 KAOR Radio. You deserved it. You deserved it.
That knife out of my back, man.
You should just mute yourself.
Oh man, that was good. That was good.
Right? I have them sometimes, you know.
That was good.
I have them sometimes.
Oh.
We're going to take a 2-minute break and then we're going to come
What
back.
are we talking about next?
I didn't say.
That's cold. When have the Eagles ever had a passing attack?
We're going to pick our NFL game for next week. And then we're going to take a look at.
Short again.
It's a little short.
You get another
Okay,
shot.
hey, are you listening?
Kinda.
Looks at NFL next week. We forgot to pick our game to watch next week.
Okay.
We'll do that really quick. And
Yeah, this
then,
thing's like staying for once.
Not when I was holding it.
Staying now.
and then we'll
Who wants
look
to
at college games last week and talk about that because we always do that first.
You go to NFL.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
So guess how many college games I watched
Still
last week?
haven't
Did we won?
Zero.
Yeah, we won double overtime.
We
Yeah.
did. We'll talk about us last. So we always do that.
I haven't really read anything about our win though.
Minus Bauma punting.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Fuck! I
Actually.
showed you that. I'm just like,
Bauma.
what?
67-yard
It
punt.
was
actually
a
did
fucking
that.
good punt. Why? Did he punt?
He punted in high school.
And
Why is
did-
he not
did
punting
Bergner get
now?
hurt?
He did awesome.
They were just
Bergner's
trying to
not a
confuse the
punter.
D.
Is he?
So they were like, "Hey, we're gonna run
He
wildcat
was
punt."
Is he a punter? Is he? Because I figured
Bergner is our kicker. It's college. Yeah, it's our kicker and punter.
a lot of colleges have different kickers, punters.
Not our small school college.
You know what? Sometimes it happens.
Holy crap! I know something about college sports. You don't.
Sometimes
Oh
it
my
happens.
god!
It happens.
Oh.
Shut up.
What's up with you? Okay, Panthers, Bucks, Cowboys, Lions, Browns, Chiefs, Dolphins, Pats, Bills,
That'll be
Saints,
fun.
Giants, Eagles. Giants, Eagles.
Fuck that. Okay.
Niners, Jags, Steelers, Raiders, Jets, Bengals, Falcons, Cards, Redskins, Broncos, and
Oh,
Packers,
God.
Vikings,
I'm not gonna pick that
and
game.
Seahawks, Rams. 6 teams have bye weeks this year.
Wait, what?
And we're back here on Make Your Point. I forgot the segment. I'm sorry. We're going to quickly pick our games to watch for the NFL, and then we're going to go to college. But we are going to start college. It's just going to take 1 minute for these lovely guys to pick their games.
I was reading.
Josh Earl's game of
I
the
don't-
week is
I don't have one quite yet.
Way to be prepared. So Nathan Pool's game of the week is...
I'm going to say the Cowboys and the Lions. The Lions 5-2, and the Cowboys are 4-3. The Lions coming off a devastating loss to the Bengals. No, they're 4-3. Both teams are 4-3. I
Yeah.
forgot that they
Yep.
lost
The
Bengals.
Lions did lose to the Bengals.
Yep. So they're both 4-3. Dallas 1-game winning streak, and now Detroit at home against Dallas. It'll be a hard-fought game. I could see this one very high scoring. That's a game to watch, in my opinion.
I got Jets and Bengals.
I thought you were going to do your little homer, or your little bias for Terrell Pryor. go. Oakland.
I thought about it, and I was like,
I was really expecting
it's gonna be a
I
really.
honestly was.
I honestly think that's gonna be a really boring game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we already know the outcome.
Not really, actually, because the
No, we
Steelers
don't.
upset the Ravens.
They have 2 wins now.
Yeah.
They have 2
They're
wins.
gonna get
Coming back.
They're going to get
Oh,
3.
Kind
yeah.
of, sort of. Oh, did you hear the comments from Roethlisberger
I didn't.
about the Wildcat?
Mm-mm.
They ran him out wide receiver because he apparently played wide receiver in high school, and so they were.
Such a big person to play.
I know, and he doesn't like it. Not because he can't overrun like the linebackers, because he can, because he's huge.
Mm-hmm.
He told the coach he doesn't really like doing the Wildcat because he gets tired running out to the wide receiver position every time.
Aww.
Yeah. He's like 6'5" and like 250 pounds. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Dolphins Patriots for my game, so why not?
It's a good game.
I would hope so.
Hey, pick a game.
Which one are we
NFL.
talking about? The NFL?
NFL for next week.
Talk
Phil
about
English
coming
has joined
late.
us.
I just got off work.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
I thought
they
you
kept
said
me.
5.
They kept me an hour long.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with Detroit, Dallas.
Oh, I said that one.
That's okay, we can say
Yay.
them more than once. So, now that everybody has picked their games, unless Joe wants to do our power rankings.
The
You wanna play?
top 2 teams in the NFC and AFC, in your opinion.
Top 2 in each.
Yep.
Well, I did happen to catch the most updated ESPN ones this morning.
No, but I want to know yours.
I know.
And while you're thinking, Josh and Nate can think about their college games they want to talk about.
All right.
I'm gonna go with, on the AFC side, I gotta give it to the Chiefs at number 1 because they are the only undefeated team. And yes, their opponent's win percentage is only a 3-1-3. They've also played the Chiefs and lost to the Chiefs each week. I would say my number 2 right now, and they might drop just because of a certain injury, would have to be the Colts. They're an iffy 2 right now. We'll see what Reggie Wayne's injury will do. In the NFC, I have to go with the Saints. I would put it at 2, and the Seahawks at number 1, mostly because the Seahawks have been a very good team. Lost to my number 2 in the AFC side, in the Colts, but they're also getting Percy Harvin back in the coming few weeks. So.
Alright, so hopefully that gave you guys enough time to think about what college games you'd like to start discussing. Josh, do you have anything prepared?
Kind of. Like fun games from the last weekend.
Yeah, since we're sitting decently on time, I will allow you to pick 2. I'll
Oh,
be all
yay.
nice. You can pick 2.
Give me the thing I'm weak at and give me 2 of it.
Games that surprised you, games that caught your eye.
Well, Ole Miss beating LSU was kind of surprising.
Even though Ole Miss has had a lot of
I'm
close
surprised you
games
didn't
against
pick
SEC
your-
teams.
The game you called, or whatever.
UCF and Louisville.
What game did I call? I didn't call it.
No, I know,
No,
but
you said
it
that
was
would
a
be a
game.
good game to watch.
Well, yeah, but
Oh,
that's
you
an
didn't have
obvious
that
one. I'm
one.
pretty sure we're going to talk about it, so I didn't want to.
Well, we were just going to talk in depth now, and then talk a few stories. And then
Well,
talk
you
about
know.
it, so you know.
Oh, well. Also, I found Tennessee over South Carolina pretty interesting. How far South Carolina has fallen this season?
What do you mean, like in the rankings or just general
Overall,
team?
as a team, basically.
They're
They're losing a lot in the SEC.
I think they've faltered this year, and I think they're going to still keep continuing to falter.
Alright.
I could see their 3rd loss coming this week.
Also, it was Tennessee coming up huge in that fourth quarter. They were down going in. They scored the
I
only
think
points.
Tennessee is pretty underrated right now.
Tennessee?
They
I don't know
played
about
pretty-
that.
They played
I don't
pretty
know about
tight
that.
against Georgia. Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah. They played
They're,
good.
I think they're pretty underrated. Nate, how about your team? Your 2 games.
I'm going to go Big Ten. I'm going to say the Iowa-Ohio State game. I actually said on the show last week that this would be an interesting game. I did not think that Iowa was going to win, but I did say that they would give Ohio State a run for their money, which they did. They were leading at half, I believe, but then 34-24, Ohio State wins. I think with the score that was, Ohio State's undefeated season will come up short. I think their defense shows too many flaws. And I think that their first loss is coming up here soon. I don't think they'll go undefeated because they're holding on to a 19-game winning streak right now, and that's just going to take a toll on them.
There are
So,
currently 10 teams that are undefeated in college football.
what was that?
There are currently 10 teams undefeated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
It is.
And
Right, so that's one.
Yep, and the other one was just how Florida State manhandled Clemson. I was not expecting that score to be that bad.
I was going to bring that up too because
In
that happened
favor.
in Death Valley.
Yeah, which
that wasn't
I was
even in
just
Florida, it
totally
was in Death
floored.
Valley.
I was floored on this. I picked Clemson to win, so I kind of looked like the dumb butt of the
I
group.
was only one of the three to pick Florida
But-
State.
But
Florida.
Florida State is for real. They really have caught my eye, and man, Jameis Winston, he can play.
Hey, can I make a quick comment real quick? On your Ohio State comments, they only play one more ranked opponent,
Yeah,
Mhm.
they have a super
which
easy
is
schedule.
number 22 Michigan in the last week. That being
And
said,
Michigan just got ranked.
this next
recently.
week they play Penn State.
Which
That's
that's not
challenging.
I would say Penn State is no slouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penn
no.
State will probably challenge them,
yeah.
but that's pretty much the only real challenge.
All right,
And Michigan's just has a
What?
bad defense too.
Joe's turn.
Okay. Well, one of them would be the loss by the Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're ranked, what are you now, 15?
Mm-hmm.
And you lose to Vanderbilt, an unranked team?
Not only that, but the loss last week as
But,
well.
yeah, Georgia's just kind of fallen completely from what we all thought they would be. We thought that they would
Injuries
be...
is a big factor. though.
Injuries are a huge factor,
Yeah.
yes.
But
We also
so
thought-
were injuries last week against Missouri when they lost their quarterback and their receiver
Yes.
in the game, and they still came on to one.
Right.
I mean, injuries play a part, but they don't play a humongous part.
It's for their team. It does because they pretty much have lost their entire receiving core and their star running back.
Well, also in this game, it was just they completely fell apart in a couple clutch time. Fourth quarter, giving up 17 unanswered.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
a big time.
Like I
stat.
said, it's not all injuries. Anyways, continue on.
The only other one that I could see here that's really any surprise to me is one Josh said, and that'd be Tennessee, South Carolina. And that's just in the FBS schools.
You're not saying Texas A&M?
I was gonna say.
Oh.
No one's gonna bring
I was
that
going to let
up.
that one go.
I was like,
No one's
dude,
gonna
no
bring
one's
that
going to
one
bring
up.
that
I was
one
gonna let
up.
that one go.
I'm just curious.
I
Okay,
haven't gone.
this isn't like a big deal, and like Arizona State's been playing pretty well, but they look manic. They just shellacked Washington.
Yeah, I was definitely going to talk about that.
Oh.
I think, I mean, I'm the one that's kind of been hating on Arizona State, but they definitely impressed me.
They scored
this
more
week.
in one quarter than the other team scored the whole game.
They most definitely impressed me. I was going to talk about Auburn beating Texas A&M just because I'm glad they lost.
Yep.
And
You just want bad things to happen to Johnny Football.
I do. I
It's okay,
want
so
horrendous things to happen to Johnny. So.
Someone put on a fake Johnny Manziel Twitter. Don't worry, Vikings fans, I got you next year. Don't want him.
Another few games to point out. Stanford 13 upset 9 UCLA. And there was also another one I saw. Oh, Missouri. It wasn't an upset over Florida, but they still won. And I do believe that this does solidify Missouri a little bit more.
Also, I'm not sure if we touched on it at all, and they didn't end up losing, but Miami barely beat North Carolina.
Yes.
Barely. In that fourth quarter, they had to come back against a team that was
Yeah, I watched the end of that.
1-4 at the time.
I watched the end of that, and they literally got that pretty much as
They
time
had
was
scored 2
running out.
touchdowns
Yeah.
on us. That shouldn't
was.
happen at all.
So,
Hey, I
any
can
more
talk college
comments?
football.
I'm proud of you. Any more comments on games that happened last week?
I kind
Going
of think
once,
the
going
Alabama-Arkansas score was funny.
It was shut out.
I'm slightly sadistic, but that was kind of funny.
So let's
Not just
talk
shot,
about
52.
those 10 undefeated teams, because there are only 10. There is Alabama, Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State, Northern Illinois, or not, Fresno State, excuse me, I got the Bulldog confused, and then Northern Illinois, and then Texas Tech, Miami of Florida, Baylor, and Missouri are the 10 undefeateds left. How much faith do you have in these teams?
To go undefeated?
To continue to be undefeated, or just in general, do you think that these represent the cream of the crop being undefeated?
Some do and some don't. Like that Miami game kind of makes me doubt him a little bit. Just a little bit of doubt. Some I figure will end up being undefeated by default. Like Ohio State, you think they're going to get a loss at some point. I think the fact they're playing such a weak schedule, Penn State will push them,
I feel the same
but
way
I think
about
they
Alabama.
come out on top.
I feel
Alabama's
like
had
Alabama's
a kind of
on the
weak
schedule.
schedule. I think
Kinda.
They
Yeah.
do have a weak schedule.
Kinda.
Regardless, I think Alabama's still one of the better teams, like regardless of the weak schedule. But I think they'll basically be undefeated by default, effectively. Let's see, Florida State. I want to have faith in them, but for some reason I can't. I don't know why. Why don't
Because
I
you
have
hate
faith in
Pillow.
them? Why? I don't hate Pillow. I just not hate him. Let's see, Oregon. They just put up insane amounts of points and pray.
Another weak schedule, though. Of these 10 undefeated teams, I mean, how much of it do you think actually goes to weak schedules?
Pretty decent amount.
Yeah.
At this point in the season, like if you're undefeated after this is what 7 games in for most of these teams, 6 for some, a pretty decent chunk of it does go to weak schedule because if you're playing like ranked opponent, it's kind of hard to win game after game after game, especially if
The
you're going on the
biggest-
road to them.
The biggest credit I give to for having a tough schedule is Missouri because the past 2 weeks they've faced decent competition.
Oh yeah, plus the SEC, as much as other conferences have come up a little bit, the SEC is still basically the cream of the college crop, and
I'm
they're
not
3-0
sure
in the
what
SEC.
Texas- Yeah, exactly. Well, they're undefeated.
That
I
being
don't
said,
know
they now
Tech's
play.
schedule. They have a pretty decent schedule coming up too. Like they're
Missouri?
not bad. Yeah.
Missouri, they play South Carolina at home this week, and
Like
in
the rest of their schedule is pretty much ranked or
Yeah.
really close to ranked.
I actually think Tennessee will give them a challenge.
You
And
just said
Texas
you had no
A&M.
faith in Tennessee.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Who did I say I didn't have? I didn't say Tennessee.
Yeah, you did.
Different team.
No, it was Tennessee.
No, he said he was surprised by Tennessee.
Yeah, I didn't say I didn't have faith in them. I think I hope they blow A&M. I really do.
That's going to be the big question for them.
I'm sorry. I hate Johnny football too.
How much of the loss, going back to A&M, how much of the loss do you think actually was on Johnny Manziel's injury?
No, I don't really put it all on his injury. I put it on the defense. Their defense is terrible this year. It truly
It
is.
wasn't good from the start.
It hasn't been good all season, and I think that's why Johnny Manziel has to do a lot more this year because he's pretty much playing down, and their defense gives up so many points.
Right now, it kind
It's
of looks
terrible.
like A&M. They're basically a pretender right now. And the fact that they can win games against like weaker opponents, that kind of stuff. Every time they play a ranked opponent, they lose. Fun fact for you, just a fun fact.
Who are you talking about?
A&M.
Oh,
That being
Texas
said,
A&M.
because
they
There's more than one
they
A&M.
picked
Oh,
Alabama. They lost to Alabama.
lost to Alabama, lost to Auburn. Those are the
And
only
they
two
were-
ranked
yeah.
opponents they played. This is
Auburn
this is
surprised
going
me
off
that
now.
being ranked, but-
They're 24, barely.
I know, but I mean, still.
And then they
it's
play
surprising.
LSU and they play
Especially
at
after last
LSU and
year's
at
season.
Missouri to end the season. That's not going to be clever for them.
That's not gonna
That's
be
not
good
going
for
to be
them.
pleasant at all.
But I think Missouri's kind of legit. So
Hey,
I'll just make.
quick question: do you think Vanderbilt could upset A&M this week? Texas A&M.
I'm saying that's a game to watch this week. I really, truly am.
Well, we'll get to our games to watch after. If there are no more notes, I guess of these 10 teams, how many do you think will be undefeated by the end of the season? Out of 10.
I'll go
We'll make a
3.
note.
No.
I'm gonna
I
go.
think it's more than that.
I'm
Actually,
gonna go
because of the strength
4.
of the schedules.
I'm gonna go 4. Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, and Missouri.
I'll go with that plus Ohio State.
I'll throw Missouri out, but take Ohio State.
So 4 or 5.
Yeah, around that area. Because I think Miami. You said Miami was undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna lose. soon.
Barely.
Alright, so
Barely.
Nate said 4.
Fresno
Josh,
State, I could see them losing. Texas Tech,
Josh
I
said
could see
5,
them
and I
losing.
said 4.
I said 4 too.
Yeah,
she's
I
got
know
you
what you
Okay,
said.
gotcha.
Alright, so we will keep an eye on that. Which one do you think is going to lose first? You may read them off again.
Probably.
Alright,
I need to look at who they play too.
so we have Alabama, Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State, Fresno State, Northern Illinois, Texas Tech, Miami, Florida, Baylor, and Missouri.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
So,
I could see Fresno State too, as one of those top
Um,
teams to lose.
I don't know about coming up first, but I think Miami loses in 2 weeks.
because they play who?
Florida State.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be this week that they lose.
Yeah,
That'll
I
be
know.
fun.
I know. I'm just saying who they were.
I can't. Who does Texas Tech
I don't know Tech's schedule.
play?
Well, they play.
They play Oklahoma. Ah, interesting.
My pick.
That's interesting.
Hey,
It's been one of those games.
Hey.
One of those long days.
I think Oklahoma upsets that one, so I think actually
You're
Miami
changing.
is the first one. What?
Oh, are you changing to my
To Texas Tech losing first.
Oh. Sure.
I'm asking. I'm not making. I'm asking. You have U of M right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Sure, what, bitch?
Yeah.
Speak
I think
clearly.
Texas Tech loses to Oklahoma. Fine, whatever, man. That thing with the words and stuff.
Thank you for using your words.
I am trying to
That
keep it
word
all
with
straight.
the L. That word that starts with L.
Lose.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Okay, so Nate's saying Fresno. You two are saying Tech.
I have no idea what Fresno is.
Neither do I. I just
You said
think they're gonna
basically,
lose.
we're just gonna pick.
I just think
something.
they're gonna lose.
All right, we're gonna take
What I
a
do
quick
with Texas
break.
Tech.
We'll take a short break and come back with a few more stories. You are still listening to Make Your Point here on 91.1 Cat Radio. Or today.
Fresno State does not play another ranked opponent.
Okay.
They could still
They play
lose.
San Diego
You
State.
never
lose.
know.
They play San Diego State.
They're
Who's
gonna lose against Nevada.
2-0 in their Mountain Western Conference.
We're
lose
gonna
against
talk quarterbacks, underrated,
Nevada.
overrated.
They're going to lose to Nevada at home.
Are you listening?
No,
We're gonna talk quarterbacks. Who's underrated? Who's overrated? Quarterback rankings.
because I know a lot about them.
And then there was an article about an all-female crew
Oh, where's the Heisman?
roughing. There isn't a Heisman. Watch it.
Wow.
Because the Heisman's not open yet. But there's been a Division II football game, and they're having 4 female officials officiate the game. And we're gonna
Only
discuss
4?
Hmm?
Only 4?
that. It's Division II.
Still a small group.
I don't know. That's what it says. It says 4 female officials.
We run 5 in high school.
Well, it says 4. I'm not in charge of it.
is there
It
some-
says
is there
4.
some-
More females.
Yeah,
in the
are there
crew.
other men
Maybe.
to round
There's
it
one
out?
man. I don't know. It just said 4. I'm going to talk about it. Welcome back to Make Your Points. I'm Victoria Harmony. With me, Josh Earl, Nathan Poole, and Joe English.
Woo!
Yeah, buddy.
And we're back here for some college football.
Who's over there
action.
eating some good old yogurt?
For the first time we've been in this studio in almost a month.
Oh my gosh, we
Sad
we
face.
miss you, buddy.
I know, I just keep getting scheduled until 8 for...
Can't you talk to your boss?
Yeah, but she always gets the schedule out before I get the chance to talk to her.
Gotcha.
And it's always I've had a week I need off. Okay, back to Victoria's.
You know, as fun as your schedule is, Joe, we're going to talk about college quarterbacks. Who's overrated, who's underrated, and
Well,
I
that's just
listed...
as fun as my schedule.
I listed a few just to get people started because I know a bunch of people in here. Well, not a bunch, but some people don't watch college football as religiously as I do. So,
I watch one halftime.
a few of them that I had written down. Bridgewater, Manziel, Winston, and Mariota, who's getting a lot of hype lately. Who do
I
you
know.
think is rated?
I know who's overrated. Everyone in this studio and most people out there think is overrated.
Manziel.
We call him Johnny Football.
Yeah. I think he's poorly overrated, and just count off the recent performances of a certain quarterback in Louisville, Bridgewater. I could say he's a little bit overrated too.
You know what I'd actually compare Manziel to an extent? This makes me kind of
Michael Vick.
No.
That's
No.
No, I wouldn't refer him to Tim Tebow. He
No.
can actually throw.
That's almost mean to see, though.
Tebow's actually not that fast. He's just more of a bull rusher. I consider Manziel the super poor man's Kaepernick. Like the poor man that literally is starving in the streets. That man's Kaepernick.
Anyway,
Without the throwing accuracy. Bridgewater is overrated. Just flat out. Basically, there's been consensus on him being like first overall pick and all this kind of stuff during the draft since Clowney fell off the face of the earth.
not only Clowney, but Manziel.
Yeah.
Manziel too, yeah. Manziel's fine.
I even brought up why I thought Clowney would fall off the face of the earth on this show.
Because you were saying that they were incorporating him more, or was that?
Last season, he was a situational player.
Yeah.
This season, they expected him to be an every down player. He was not ready to be every down. But I still think that Teddy Bridgewater, even though I believe he's a little overrated, still will be the overall number 1 pick.
I don't think he'll be first of all. I think he'll be in the first 5.
I guarantee he'll be the first quarterback taken. That's my stone cold lock.
I'm not sure actually. It depends how much Mariota stock continues to rise.
Did you just combine like Murray and Mariota or something?
I did not
He
actually.
took the Marriott Hotel franchise.
You could
That's
even,
closer actually.
Because it sounded like Murray. I'm just like.
You could
No, I wasn't trying to put into Murray.
you could make an argument that Mariota and McCarron have a shot for being overall number one too.
Yeah, especially
just-
if his stock keeps rising.
It's not just Bridgewater that.
No, Bridgewater. I'd love to see go like 5th overall or something like that.
Which really, the first team in there will probably be Jacksonville.
There's a lot of teams this year that need quarterbacks, and there's a decent amount of quarterbacks here that are there for them. That being said, skill-wise, should they probably be that high? Probably not. But the need is there, basically.
Really, you look at this next draft, and it's really heavy.
It's
First
heavy.
round wise, anyway.
Yeah, it's heavy.
If you're looking for a decent quarterback, you need.
There's a decent amount of like depth at other positions too, but if you're looking for like that star player, it's really at the quarterback position. I'd love to see McCarron get a little more look at.
Love.
I don't think he has enough love right now to be.
I
first
honestly
overall,
agree with you.
I don't think, but the problem is he doesn't have enough love right now to be first overall.
Yeah.
I think maybe
Because he's on a hated team.
I honestly don't think that that's going to factor in a lot, though, because I think a team's going to look at their necessities. Because Bradford came off of a very disliked Oklahoma team, and he still went number one. He didn't even play.
That's not what I mean by love. By love, I mean hype.
Same for
Hype is
Bradford.
big.
Bradford didn't even play his senior year, and
Right.
he still went number one overall. I mean, I think it just depends on the year, and it depends on the team that has to pick. I don't think it matters.
But there's
if
so
McCarron has
many
hype
there's
from
so
the
many
public.
QBs around there. I'm just
how
not
many
sure if
QBs
he's
have hype from the public right now? The one I'm hearing about is Mariota.
Mariota,
Manziel always has
Manziel,
hype.
Bridgewater.
And you got what's the
I,
one
I
from
haven't
Florida
Boyd
State?
was
heard.
getting
I haven't
some.
heard a
But
lot
he's a
about
freshman.
Bridgewater since
Doesn't
their
matter.
loss
He's getting
this
more hype
weekend.
than all the other guys.
Boyd was
Winston.
getting hype.
Boyd.
Winston.
Is Boyd eligible?
Yes.
Boyd's
Boyd's
eligible.
eligible, yeah.
Boyd was getting a lot of hype a couple weeks ago.
Last weekend
Yeah.
when they lost to
Yeah.
Florida State, and I don't know.
And then you have Winston covering ESPN all the time.
But I mean, lately I've just been seeing a ton of Mariota, and there's not a lot of quarterbacks that are getting those centerpieces. Winston had a press release type thing that I watched on TV this weekend, but that's about it.
well, heck, you could
A
even
press conference. That's the
I
word.
kind of feel like the kid's getting a little too big for his britches, but that's just.
even look
I
at
think
the
he's keeping his head.
even
down.
look at the quarterback from Northern Illinois in Lynch. He's not getting any
He's
hype. And
underrated.
He's you can
No,
say
he's overrated.
overrated.
I'm sorry,
Where
overrated.
is
He's
which
way
quarterback?
overrated. Northern
You-
Illinois.
Yeah, because he's with Northern Illinois. That's the downfall.
He's so overrated. No, he's so overrated. He's not even that good. I don't like him. I don't. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. I don't think he's mobile. I don't think he passes
He's going to
very
be
well.
Andrew Luck's backup next year.
That'd be funny because then we just laugh in Victoria's face.
I think Lynch is so overrated because they got into that big bowl game last year.
And they got smoked.
They got smoked, but because he was their big quarterback, oh, he's so mobile. Oh, he can pass. Really? Where was it that game? It wasn't
And the
there. I don't
defense
think
wasn't
he's
there.
that good. And I actually have fun stats up, and he's not even in the top 40 of quarterback passer rating. So, fun stat, he's
Fun fact.
overrated.
Yeah.
Fun stat.
Okay.
I actually honestly think Braxton Miller's underrated. I don't think he gets enough recognition for what he does. Especially last year. I think last year he was so underrated.
I agree he's underrated, but if you're looking at a NFL prospect one, I believe he's a little overrated in that sense.
Yeah.
I think he'll turn into more of the Terrell Pryor when he gets to the NFL.
Oh, Terrell Pryor.
Mhm.
Looking
Didn't Terrell
at
Pryor,
more-
wasn't he at Ohio State too?
Yes.
Yeah,
He
that's
was.
kind of what I was thinking. I was like,
And
you're
then-
making the
He
Terrell
was.
You're
Pryor.
welcome!
And then,
And then he had
Miller
issues,
came.
and then they
Yeah.
got sanctions, and
Yeah.
then all hell broke loose, basically.
Wait, and then they got Miller, and they still went undefeated last year. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an Ohio State fan. I actually don't like that team at all. But I
Neither do
think
I.
last
So I don't
year,
mind him.
they did such a good job with their recruiting and getting all of their pieces together, especially getting Miller, and they have a good running back. I can't think of his name off my head.
Well, Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Urban Meyer.
It's
He
not
was a good
Hyde, is it?
quarterback- or coach.
I think I don't remember either.
But yeah. Anyways, another underrated quarterback. I think obviously Missouri's quarterback, but he's not a very good passer. I just think
James Franklin?
Yes,
I thought you were going to say James Franco there for a second.
Franco.
No, not Franklin.
But no, he's a good. He runs the offense well. He's a very good coordinator. He's not the best
Yeah.
passer. He's not the
So-
best
so
runner.
game
He's a good.
manager.
Yeah, he's a good.
That being said, we've seen game managers go first overall.
I know.
Alex
I'm not
Smith.
thinking he's going to go first.
That's true.
Back in the
and
Look what he's got going for him now.
Yeah, as a game manager, he's great as a game manager.
And interesting stat number 2: Bryce Petty is leading the college quarterbacks in passing efficiency. Bryce Petty is the quarterback for Baylor.
Oh, do we have a Geno Smith of this year that basically throws up a ton of touchdowns for a really sucky team?
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Please don't say that about Gino. That's your one strike.
My bad.
That's your one strike.
Was I wrong?
Yes, you were. Bryce
How?
Petty has
I
thrown
didn't say
15
he was sucky. I said the
touchdowns.
team was sucky.
You could possibly say.
Strike and a half.
Is that wrong?
So,
McCarron.
Bryce
You can
Petty.
put him in that category.
In
McCarron
what?
throws
But that's
in the
good.
same cat. I know, but still throw him in. Or well, I guess if you
But the
wanted
team
to-
wins games. I'm trying to
If
figure
you
out which
wanted to
category.
put
No.
one and if you wanted to
No,
put
what's
2
the-
and 2 together
I was asking which
and
category.
actually look at a team like that, then Alabama wouldn't be the one because they're so good.
My bad. I'm sorry for asking for clarification.
McCarron only
Thank
has
you.
63 touchdowns.
He'll pretty much surpass 70 after this year, and
I can't
he's
say
He's had
ridiculous
14.
in not turning the ball over.
I was watching
As we're sitting here watching the Kentucky-Mississippi State game.
What are you doing?
I can't say anything.
Shouldn't be
Else,
watching.
but
Yeah, watch them call to
Might as
the
well.
ball and be educated.
And learn.
Be educated.
Learned how bad Kentucky
I still
is.
think my comment was wrong, but whatever.
But Bryce Petty's leading it. Jameis Winston's actually number
Yeah.
2 overall in passer efficiency.
Where's he play?
Florida State.
Florida State. Okay.
Jameis.
The
Bryce-
freshman.
Bryce
Bryce
Petty?
Petty
Or
is Baylor's
Who's Baylor's?
quarterback.
I know
Oh,
that.
Hmm?
okay.
Junior quarterback. He only
I always
has
forget
16
Winston's name.
Jameis.
Baylor just
I had to
Jameis.
ask how to say it because I wasn't sure if it's Jameis or Jameis because it's
Jameis?
it's Jameis.
Jameis.
It's Jameis. I asked for clarification.
Well, even
Sounds
the,
like Seamus.
It's a shortened version of the Irish whiskey.
That's nice.
Jameson.
Can we just call him Famous?
No,
they call him
Famous
famous
That's
Jameis.
his
James.
nickname. Yeah, I know.
no, we're calling him Jameis.
FJ.
Manziel's number 4. Mariota's number 5. McCarron is number 8.
Menzel should be fucking 10.
This is just on efficiency. Miller is number 13. Shaw is number 11. That's South Carolina. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Kevin Hogan's number 16. That's Stanford. Taj Boyd is 19. David Ash is 20. Aaron Murray is 23. Corey Robinson's 24. That's Troy quarterback.
Oh, sweet.
The Duke quarterback's
Ooh.
also fantastic.
Ask him for clarification in a completely valid way that's not mutable again. Aaron,
No,
Aaron,
you're just
Aaron
not gonna
Murray's
talk about
Aaron
it.
Murray's eligible, right, for
Yeah,
the draft.
he's a senior.
It's just Winston.
Aaron
is not.
Murray is a
Yeah.
senior.
Pretty much everybody's eligible except for Winston.
Jameis Winston is a freshman, so he's not.
He's a sophomore technically.
Redshirt freshman.
Redshirt freshman.
I thought he was
Moving
a
on.
true
He's a
freshman.
redshirt.
freshman.
Okay.
I looked
Redshirt.
it up.
Okay.
It's complicated.
According to a not so reliable source of Wikipedia, is Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia is actually pretty valid.
But according to that article, he was a redshirt freshman. He was also drafted into Major League Baseball.
Yes, he was.
Was he drafted by the Cubs?
Cardinals.
Oh, why didn't he go?
So
He wanted
going
to play
on
football.
to our next. He wanted to go to college.
There was also another, just a little fun fact here, another quarterback that was verbally committed to Florida State that was picked in this last year MLB draft. He was the first pick by the Minnesota Twins.
Hmm.
Can't remember what his name is. He's a pitcher.
Yes. I can picture.
It's
him.
usually.
But they had a big story out after that because Joe Mauer was also committed to Florida State as a quarterback, but decided to go into the major league. So they had a little connection there.
Right.
Little fun story, sorry.
I'm sorry. But no, we were assuming, we talked about this last week about Jameis. We think he redshirted last year because of Manuel.
Okay.
That's what we're assuming.
I have a baseball update.
That's lovely. So,
Carlos Beltran's
we
in the lineup.
are discussing
They
football.
couldn't hear you. You're not up.
Yeah,
I
you're
know
not
that. I was
wrong.
telling you guys so you could say it, but okay.
So, 4
Well,
female
you went home.
officials will
Carlos
be
Beltran's in the lineup.
officiating in
Yeah.
NCAA Division II football game soon. I'm not
I'd
sure
like to
on
watch
the
it.
dates. It appears to be a first. It's only going to be a Division II, so it's Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. It's an Atlanta-based league comprised of historically black schools. I learned about these recently after making our Twitter account. but all four who work with former NFL player umpire Terry Killens have risen through the NFL officiating development program. Do you think this is a good direction for officiating in college schools?
I think it is. I mean, if these women can put up with the stuff that goes on in the NFL camps, which means some of these are actually doing the preseason games. It's not always the actual crew during preseason games. Let them do it. I mean, and when you brought this up, Victoria, I said that it sounded like a small crew, so it sounds like they'll be working with
the
that.
men, yes.
with
There'll
the
be
one
4
man.
females and 1 male.
So, my guess is the male, no offense and no sexist reasoning behind this, will be the white hat.
Probably.
The white hat is the head official, and only because he's got the most
Experience. Yeah, he's a former NFL.
Right.
I feel like I've been muted a really long time.
And now you're going to be muted for this section.
Wow.
I was muted for the...
But anyway, I think this is a good move. Good direction,
It's a short
too.
section.
Thank you, this one.
So, because now it really says and proves that women can do the same thing as men. And it
I thought that
really
was
has
pretty
already
cool.
proven that. But it's good to see both sexes in this type of field as well. So
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good direction, and I'm hoping to see it in Division 1 soon as well. Moving on to our last topic. You can talk now.
Oh, yeah.
We're picking our games of the week, or next week.
Fun fact, my laptop died, so...
for this coming weekend.
What game did I call? Oh, okay. I'll go one because my laptop died, so it's the only one I remember. Was it A&M and Vanderbilt?
Okay.
Vanderbilt upset.
Oh, you're going to say an upset.
Yeah.
Gotta go that far, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'll say my upset then. Texas Tech and Oklahoma.
All right.
Oh, that
Nate?
too.
Shoot.
It won't be that huge of an upset considering Oklahoma's 15.
Right. Oklahoma's.
It's still kind of...
But it's the upset because it's an undefeated team going
Yeah.
down. That's the only reason you can call it an upset.
Right. It's like Stanford
Otherwise,
UCLA last
The
week.
game that's on the right-hand side of your screen there, Victoria, will be a big game. It's UCLA, Oregon.
There was another one that I was going to pick that involved South Carolina.
South Carolina plays Missouri.
There we go. I was going to go South Carolina, Missouri, and Missouri wins.
I hope Missouri wins. Yeah, Missouri.
And I don't know if
Let's
that's an
see.
upset or not. So. Probably isn't.
If South Carolina won, it would be an upset. Missouri is ranked 5 right now, though.
Oh, crap. They jumped up big time.
They're undefeated.
Yeah, I know, but
They're
they
undefeated,
jumped
and
up big.
they've had 2 big wins
Mhm.
because they got a big win last
Georgia.
week against
And then Florida.
Florida and then Georgia.
Which Florida is probably now out of the top 25. They
I
were
would
sitting
think so,
at
especially after
22.
that last injury. They just lost their top receiver, I think, as well.
Dang.
You guys still call the good games.
Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
I know. I'm gonna. Let's see, there's only one. There's 2 other ranked games, but I'm not sure. UCLA Oregon might be interesting because UCLA is coming off of a tough loss against Stanford, and they generally don't like that. I think it's in Oregon though,
Yes, I believe you're correct.
because usually the home team's on the bottom. So if it's in Oregon, it's probably not going to be as good of a game as I'm hoping. But UCLA could challenge them. I could see them maybe going down.
Who's got the night game this week?
The night game?
UCLA, Oregon, I think.
That's what my guess was.
Because that's where
Play
college
at 7
game days are.
Eastern.
That's what my question big was where's the college day game? That's always going to be a very important game.
That's
It
a 7
usually
o'clock game.
is.
And Ohio State, Penn State's at 8 on ABC.
There's another night game.
Well, there's a few, and the Stanford
Yeah.
Oregon State's at 10:30.
You know, I remember when they used to have games like starting at 9 o'clock our time.
Mm-hmm.
They always would have the Hawaii game, and it would always be on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Always
they
enjoyed
still
watching
kind
it.
of do. ESPN
Sometimes.
2 airs some late games, and so does ESPN.
Somewhat, yeah. Not as much as they used to, though. It used to be an every week thing.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break and then come back with our Savannah State Corner and USD action. So keep listening to Make Your Point.
So did you read my stuff yesterday?
That
Okay.
was
You
an
did?
extremely
Yep.
long
I wasn't sure.
It was a section and a half,
I
It was a section and a half.
I did.
think it was
I-
really good.
and it was a
got your
short
stuff.
Also,
in
I
that
don't know what I
was
did get
like
you.
beneficial to
You
our
know what you did.
topics. So.
No, I don't
You know what you
actually.
did.
I didn't say anything offensive. I said his team was bad, not him. And my laptop died, so yeah.
That sucks.
So what are you doing?
We're going on in 30
I'm
seconds.
confused what's bad about saying a team that's bad is bad.
Listen, now we can watch college football again.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to tune into the show.
I like college football.
You can watch that.
So watch ESPN.
Are you hiding from the camera?
I guess, not purposefully.
You can move it. We're going on in 13 seconds.
That's really the big struggle of Victoria.
Oh.
Is getting all 4 people.
Yeah, I know.
Well, but when the people are close enough, usually it's okay.
Usually, if you're right up to this,
Because we did it last week.
Yeah.
Don't get your phone.
I only saw 3 people last week on the show, so
There
I
were
was
only
I was one of the viewers.
I know you're
Sweet.
talking to me.
That's
So, you just came in on a random
Good.
conversation. Stay Harmony with me, Josh Earl, Nathan Poole, and Joe English. We are here on Make Your Points, discussing last week's show where there were only 3 of us. Well, 4, because James was here.
James did pretty
Yes.
James was here as well.
And James, by the way, actually ended up picking the correct score for
The baseball
game
game.
6 game. Right? No, not game 6. Game
Game
5. Was it
Five?
game 5 or game 1 of the Boston and Detroit series? He said
It would
4
be
to
game
3.
6.
It was game 6 then. So he picked
We'll have to get that sound back for him.
Yeah.
But yes. So we're going to move on to Savannah State Corner because everybody loves Savannah State Corner.
Yay!
Who doesn't love Savannah State Corner?
I'm starting to like
See, Savannah State's wonderful.
it.
So Savannah State lost to Bethune Cookman, 48-21.
48-21 this time.
Hey, it's close!
That's
They've
the
been
worst.
closer in past weeks. Okay?
Yeah,
it's,
that's
it's
a bad
tough
score.
one.
But
To be
they
fair,
were
Bethune Cookman's like the top in the
undefeated.
MEAC. They're
Yeah.
like 3-0 in the MEAC.
Yeah.
So to be fair, it was a pretty tough opponent.
Mhm.
So looking at some stats, Savannah State's quarterbacks, they used 2 again, Bostic and Prunty. Bostic went 17 for 36, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for 202 yards. Prunty was 4 for 8 with 108 yards. He had 4 passes, he had 108 yards. Wow.
4 passing.
You know, I
Four
kind of feel like if he wants to start at quarterback again, Vandermountain can learn something from that.
Really? That's kind of impressive, actually. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 4 for 8 for 108 yards. Okay.
A lot of
so
those were big gains.
total offense for Savannah
Mad
State
Marys.
was 404, and Bethune Cookman was 465. So obviously there was a problem with defense. Turnovers 5-4, and Savannah State had 5. They lost 2 fumbles. They threw 3 interceptions. Bethune Cookman lost 3 fumbles and had 1 interception. Looking at their quarterback, they also used 2 quarterbacks. Williams was 10 for 14 with 143 yards, and Waters was 5 for 9 with 49 yards. See, like that's a normal number for 5 passes is 49 yards.
A lot of those were short dump off passes.
Yeah, right. So Savannah State's passing obviously picked it up quite a bit. Unfortunately, the yardage for the team ended up totaling 94 because there was negative 13 yards in there. And rushing, Hayward really stepped it up. He had 113 yards off of 3 receptions for receiving. So good on him.
Their offense really.
It kind of looks like for this game that Savannah State adopted the Swiss cheese model of defense.
I feel like that's
Like,
kind
as
of
far as,
happened
like,
lately.
Defending the rush, like they defended the pass pretty well. I mean, Bethune Cook really didn't throw. I mean, they completed most of their passes, but generally speaking,
I think the 3 interceptions were kind of a big thing.
well, 3 interceptions are a big thing, but also, okay,
Because they got 52 yards.
Bethune Cook had a total of 42 carries from 6 people combined for 273 yards.
Yeah.
That's a 6.5 yard per carry average, and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So looking ahead at their schedule,
Ooh, can I throw in another really quick fun stat?
you can't run playing off the schedule.
C. White, whoever he is.
Let's see
White,
whoever he is.
I don't know.
They're
The-
like our
one-
unofficial team.
one of the rushers, no, from Bethune Cook.
Okay.
From Bethune Cook, he rushed 7 carries for 69 yards, and in 7 carries got 3 touchdowns.
Holy balls.
Yeah,
That's almost as impressive
That's
as throwing
kinda
over
awesome.
100 yards in 4 passes.
I think it's more impressive.
It's pretty close. So, looking at the upcoming game, It's going to be a home game in Savannah State against North Carolina Central.
They better win.
Hopefully they will. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now.
They need.
Yeah, they gave us hope in that one game, and then just
They did. Well, actually, two. Because it was 24-22, 26-24.
Yeah.
Back-to-back
No.
weeks.
North Carolina Central is 3-4 and 1-2 in the conference.
So there's hope.
Let's look at how they. Oh, thank you, server, for not being found.
What are you trying to find?
That being said, they have been up 2 straight weeks. Well, they were kind of close against Morgan State, the other team.
South Carolina State lost 44-3. 34-22 is not that close. They are
34-22.
3
It's closer.
and 4. They are 3 and 4.
Yep. They beat Howard and St. Augustine's, who doesn't have a page.
And they lost to Duke.
They lost to Duke.
Oh.
45-0. Got blanked out.
Damn. Duke's a better team.
Oh, man,
That was a close game against Duke.
Yeah, I actually remembered reading an article the other day that was talking
Duke's getting
about
better,
some like third stringer starting for an NFL team or something like that, and they were turning to a Duke quarterback, and the article made a big deal about how like it was so pathetic they were turning to a former Dookie, and I was like,
Duke's
what?
football team is horrendous, but they have gotten better since last year. They
Their
had
defense
not.
is still terrible, but their offense is
Not as good as
wild.
the lacrosse team.
This is true. Their lacrosse team is a beast. Before last year, they had a bowl appearance last year. Okay, to put this in perspective, the last bowl appearance they had before last year was 1992.
Still, don't. I think Duke. I think basketball.
That's perspective.
That's
And
fine.
lacrosse, they're really good at lacrosse.
I don't.
Yeah,
think-
they're
I
very
don't
good
think
in the legal
lacrosse-
department in lacrosse, too.
That wasn't their fault.
No, I
they
agree
were
with that.
framed. They were framed.
That's the main reason, though, most people know the Duke lacrosse team.
This is true. And there's another lacrosse team because the same girl did it in like 2 places.
Yeah.
Just like, wow, good job. Good on you. But let's not talk scandals. Let's talk USD football.
Okay.
If we have
The last
to.
10 minutes.
We do. So, yeah, last 10 minutes we'll talk USD football volleyball.
Okay.
So, I don't want that. Okay. Looking at last week's game, we won against Northern Iowa in double overtime. We won. in
First
the
road
final
win
score
since when?
Too long.
2000.
September 11th, 2010.
Against Minnesota.
Against Minnesota. I was
Yes.
at that game.
The final score was 38-31, and this was in double overtime?
Yes. Double
It only
overtime.
shows 1 overtime, so I got confused.
We
It
really
was
shouldn't have
combined
gone
overtime.
double overtime if our kicker could have made a couple of his kicks.
True.
They should have had Bama kick.
Should have had
punted.
Bama kick.
Bama punted.
Bama, I think we found our punter.
So,
Yeah,
looking
You can
at
even fake it.
I think Bergner's been playing pretty decent.
Yeah, I like Bergner. I think he's good.
We always say
He's a freshman.
I know, we keep giving Bergner
Yeah.
crap.
He's been playing especially for a freshman. He's
We
been
keep
playing
giving
pretty
Bergner
well.
crap, and he does so well. He really does.
He's got a lot of pressure on him for being really our only kicker.
Yeah, and especially our team's actually like doing
Total
better this year.
offensive yards for this game, USD had 510 and UNI had 395. I have an issue with that stat.
That kind of happens in double
Why?
overtime.
I have an issue with
Well.
that stat because it was so close and they had over 100 yards less than us.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Our offense doesn't punch it in very well.
Still, though.
That's surprising to you?
No, it's not surprising. It's just I have an issue with it. I mean, I feel like if we're going to have 510 yards, we should have a bigger score, and we should, or at least be ahead by more.
Well, haven't we been saying like the whole season, hey,
Well,
our offense
right.
should probably be a little better?
Well, with rushing, you have almost 150 yards rushing on the ground with 30 carries,
And they
but
had 200.
some of those are big runs, but then they don't really.
I still have an
Move
issue
it
with
a lot.
that. I just said I have an issue with it.
Receiving ball, I was really happy with what Riley Donovan did. I'd actually never heard of him before now. 9 catches for
That's
178
because
yards
he
and 2
just
touchdowns.
started last week.
Yeah.
He was redshirted, but they took his red shirt away last week.
He went off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He just
he
flat out went
was.
off.
We're
He
actually
actually
we're going
got
to talk
late.
about him.
Got laid out in one play, but ended up getting quickly right back up. So that's
We
good.
are going to talk about him in a bit, but
I have a spoiler.
no, not really, because you didn't say what I was going to talk about. So it's fine. But Kevin Earl was 25 for 44 with 1 interception, 370 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 sack. His
What-
long was 40.
What was his? I'm kind of curious. Okay, so I've only seen the one game. I'm kind of curious what that pick looked like actually, because I want to see him make improvements. In the game that I saw, his picks were terrible.
Well, in this game, he did improve. He had 3 touchdowns to 1 pick.
Well, yeah,
But- and
no,
5
that's
total
not what I
touchdowns.
mean. A singular pick can still be huge if you throw it straight to a guy. like he did in the end zone a
Yeah.
couple
So
weeks ago.
you're saying if it was tipped, it would have been.
I'm looking for improvement, basically.
Gotcha.
If he's going to be our quarterback going forward, because he's a
Sophomore.
now, hopefully he's shown some potential to be our starter through his years, basically. I want to see progression, basically. The progression that we didn't really see out of Vandermont. If anything, we saw regression.
I was kind of disappointed in the rushing, actually, because the only person that saw a lot
Ba-
of rushing
Bauma
was
was-
Bauma. No,
Oh, 'cause
Bauma did outstanding.
Because Roberts got hurt.
Bauma did outstanding, but still, you still have like a number 3 or number 4. We've always had like 3 or 4 or 5.
I don't know. I don't.
17 running backs.
I don't have that much
We
issue with
really
it
don't
because
have a
we went,
healthy
we
run back.
found our number one back, we gave him the ball, we found the ball. He was good. 5
I'm
yards per
fine.
carry.
No, I'm fine with somebody having a number 1 back. I'm fine with Bauma being the number 1 back.
But
and being
you
the
want
go-to
to scat
guy.
back to try to give it a change of
I
pace?
want
Yeah.
to see more people with the ball, more people touching the ball. I want to see a more balanced offense because people are going to figure out Bauma's the guy to stop, and they're going to start stopping him.
And that's
It's
what
not gonna
happened
keep
early in the
happening.
season. I mean, look against Northern Arizona. Look
Exactly.
against
Like, people are going to figure this out.
Kansas.
Oh my, somebody
Kansas.
got 150 yards
I mean-
off of 30 carries. Maybe we should stop him. That's
we
going
started
to
out really
happen.
fast against Kansas, and then it was all Bauma, and then
Exactly.
they figured that out, and they shut him down.
And
Well-
people are definitely going to figure that out, and I like having more than him get touchdowns. I liked last week.
Then we
where-
need a little bit more health on our running backs.
Well, hopefully we can get Kilgore back into some of these games too quickly because he's been making some good
He's our
strides.
scat back, isn't
He's our more elusive back.
he? Yeah.
That's
I call
what
him
he
scat
means,
back.
scat backs.
Okay. But hopefully he can get healthy because we're going to need him if we're going to make a run for the playoffs because we're going to need that
Yeah.
elusive back to make big playoffs.
How great could you imagine last year thinking right now we're thinking playoffs because we're 4-3 now. Last year 1-10. Okay, that's a huge.
We need 2 big wins yet to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm not
We-
saying we're there now.
We need 1 really big win, and we need another decent-sized win coming up here. So one we absolutely have to win. The team is tied for 24th overall in the FCS standings. Do you know who that team is?
Not off the top of
Youngstown.
my head. Youngstown's
Not
not.
Youngstown.
Youngstown was, but they're
SDSU?
not anymore.
It is SDSU.
That would be my other.
We need to beat SDSU, and then we either need to really look good against like NDSU or beat like a Youngstown, and then we'll
Who
have
are
a
very
shot.
good, too.
We're very, very good.
In Montana, you could possibly say we could win that
We
one.
do have a slight benefit of like those big games. Like games against SDSU is at home, so we do have.
And SDSU has shown problems.
Well, they are
They have
4-4
lost.
right now.
Yep. They lost to Missouri State, who we beat. So, and
Correct.
they actually gave up
They
35
did a very
points.
good game against North Dakota State, though.
Yeah.
They did.
North Dakota State is going to be, I guess, the big challenge for us.
North Dakota State's always the big challenge.
Exactly.
They're just kind of running, unbeaten.
And Youngstown State will be an even bigger matchup, too, because they're so good right now, and they're coming into the Dome, which we play really good at home.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if we can pull off the upset there. Which, yeah, it would be an upset.
But moving on from last week's game, there have been honors awarded this week, and Josh named one of them. Mr. Donovan has been named the Sports Network FCS National Freshman of the Week for the period, which ended on the 20th. So for last week, a true freshman who had his redshirt lifted 4 games ago, I guess it was 4 games, he got 9 passes for 176 yards and had 2 touchdowns in UNI's game. Donovan Howden touchdown passes of 48 and 43 yards. 3 of his other receptions moved the ball downfield. And he started 3 of 4 games since removing the red shirt. So he's 14 catches for 228 yards as a total this season. So I thought it was kind of a big deal that it wasn't just, MVFC. It's like FCS recognized that he was an outstanding freshman.
So for anyone that doesn't know, that's Missouri Valley Conference.
Yes. Thank you. And that was also courtesy of the Go Yets page. Earl also received an award this week. although I'm not
Offensive
sure.
player, I think,
Offensive
of the
player of the MVFC.
Always good seeing Earl get an award.
You guys are born in blood.
So let's talk about next week's game.
All right.
We are taking on Illinois State's the Cardinals. And it is at
They
Illinois
are 3-4.
State's.
Which they're
No, I thought they were 4-3.
No, we're 4-3.
Well, we're 4-3.
We're 4
That's
and 3,
right.
they're 3 and 4.
That's right.
And they are 2 and 2 in the conference, and we are 3 and 1 in the conference. Wow.
Yeah.
A team
I didn't look at that
that
number.
a team that can score, and they're deadly at home too. They're undefeated at home, 3-0.
Yep.
And I think when they're at home, they score over 50 points,
Yep.
an average of 50 points.
Yep.
That being said, we're coming in with a lot of momentum too.
We are coming
on
with a lot of
We're on a
momentum.
3-game win streak.
3 straight.
Which this is going to be really, it's a critical game for us too.
Yep.
If we can win this
Same.
one on the road, dude, we're sitting good.
If we win this one on the road, actually, that's a 4-game win streak, and then we have 3 straight at home.
We're on 4-game win streak right now.
No, we're on 3.
No, aren't there?
We're on 3.
Yeah, we had a UC Davis game at the very
Yeah,
beginning.
true. Gotcha.
If we win
Yep.
this game, that's 4, and then we get 3 straight at home, and culminating it with SDSU at
3
home.
straight at home with SDSU and NDSU.
Yeah,
just
whatever.
No, NDSU don't we go up
NDSU is
there.
away.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That's our
our
last game.
That's the end of the season.
Yeah.
We're their tune-up game for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So hey, so
We're
pretty much,
their
would you
tackling
would
practice.
you say that if we get 6 wins, we're automatically in?
No,
Okay, because you were saying 6 wins and we're in the playoffs. It's like,
I'm
not
saying
really.
we have to have
How-
at least
At least-
one more big win in our.
How many teams from the conference get in to play?
It all
I
depends.
don't really even know.
No.
We easily could have 4 teams this year.
Okay.
We ultimately could have 1.
It kind of just depends on the record, right?
It depends on the record. It depends on
I don't
the
really,
rankings.
I don't really know how FCS
Strength of schedule, I
does.
assume, would partially.
Strength of schedule is down on the list.
A little. Yeah. It's still.
But we got a difficult one this year.
We've got a very difficult schedule this year, yes. But it's a combination of your record, strength schedule, I guess, and I would say they kind of go off the rankings. That was the one I was thinking of. I would also say they might use a little bit of like the soccer thing where if you beat them at home, it's not as, it might be a big win, but let's say if the win was on a scale rating for points, it's a 6. If it's at home, it might end up being a 4. It's a 6 if you beat them on the road. If you understand where my metaphor is.
I'm kind of wondering how many teams are picked for the playoffs, though. If it's like 12 or is it 24?
We shall look here.
Because I really don't know how FCS playoffs work. All I know is that they go like on a NFL playoff type of a schedule for playoffs. They don't do like the bowl games.
Yeah,
right?
No, it is a bracket.
It's a bracket. Yeah. Which that's kind of interesting because if they pick 24 teams, then if we win 2 more games, we're sitting pretty good. At least 2
I was
more.
looking at the rankings just a little bit ago. USD has not even received a vote to be in the top 25.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that has a lot to do with our strength of schedule and our performance in the beginning of the season.
Our strength of schedule is one of the most difficult in the FCS. Yeah.
Still, we were pretty weak early on.
Yeah. Our performance wasn't very high in the season.
And maybe we're not being looked at because we're winning all these games very close. And we're not winning them.
We're kind of squeaking out wins.
Yeah, kind of.
In games that really shouldn't have been so close, like the home games the last couple of weeks.
UC Davis
shouldn't
shouldn't really have been a tight game.
The game, not this week, but the week before,
Missouri
was
State.
tighter than it probably should have been.
Indiana State was tight.
We made some
Touchdown.
mistakes that basically turned what could have been a potential blowout, honestly, into barely win.
Yep.
Yeah, I can talk this.
I'm
Yeah,
proud of you.
it's like constantly proving you.
You've
Yeah.
come so far.
Which if we're going to get maybe looked at, we would have to beat a team like really big,
I don't think we can.
like Youngstown.
Yeah,
If we
yes.
beat them by like
I don't
14
think
points,
we can.
I don't think we can either.
I don't think we can. I don't think we have the offense.
And DSU, perhaps. Don
Really?
goes off.
Really?
if
You're
we
gonna do that?
if we could
do
be-
you even know?
it-
Have you used the NDSU play?
if we could even
Then just shush.
if we could
Just
Why
shush.
can't I have hope?
If
Why
we
can't I
could-
have hope in this team that I
Nate,
have
how many
bashed
years
so
have
much?
NDSU won the FCS championship title?
2 in a row,
2 in a
actually.
row.
And of those 2 games, how many of them were within 15 points?
1, I believe.
My
Still
bad.
wanna
Do you
have
want
hope.
to talk about chess so I can school you? What
Do you still want to have hope? I mean, really?
Do you want to get muted?
I believe it is a
Again?
16-team
Yeah.
bracket.
16.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's a first round, or what's called the second round, which consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, but there are 4 play-in games before that.
Mhm.
So you have 8 teams in the first round.
So if we're hoping to get looked at, we would have to be in that first round. We'd be a bunny bracket game.
We would be a bunny
Essentially.
bracket where South Dakota State was last year.
And did they win that
They ended
They
up
won their
winning that
first
game
game, but they
against
lost
Eastern
their second
Illinois
game.
and then got dominated 28-3 against NDSU.
Okay. Yep, I do remember that game. Yep. And we were kind of looking at that. It's like, yeah, NDSU's going to win.
To be fair, when we played NDSU last year, we had 4 first downs the entire game. So at least SDSU competed.
Yeah. True. We didn't score any points. So, yep.
My bad. Are we gonna talk volleyball?
We are going to talk volleyball.
You know what I
We
had
got
to say about
time.
volleyball? I got nothing. I got to carry a Comrex for the game.
I was waiting for if you had any other.
Nope, that's all I've got.
Okay, then we'll move to volleyball. You wanted to say something about volleyball? Or just about carrying the Comrex?
That was basically my only involvement. Was carrying the Comrex.
That's
Anyway, did they beat their 2 matchups this past weekend?
They did. They won both games. Now they are 16-6, undefeated in the conference.
Did we
Did they
kinda
sweep,
sweep?
did they sweep them or no?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can't
That's
really
both
sweep
games.
them.
Nice.
A sweep of both games, and they are on a 7-game win streak.
Wow.
Yeah,
They
they're
are doing
really overlooked.
good.
And actually,
Yep, 7-game win
No.
streak.
yeah, and actually, I'm not criticizing.
7-match win streak?
I'm not
How many
criticizing
games in a
our
row, I wonder, is
newspaper.
that?
Well, they have. What? Keep talking, and I'll count.
It's and there was actually some criticism toward the Vaughn, and I'm not criticizing our newspaper either, saying that they need to look at the volleyball team more because really the volleyball team has made a huge jump from last year. First in the standings now in the Summit League, 16-6, something you don't really see every day for USD volleyball anyway. So, maybe look into them a little bit more. And I know that we haven't talked about them on Four Sportsmen in a long time, but we are still thinking about them. It's not like they're in the back of our minds.
It's more so, and there's like even a national thing. The whole football gets so much more attention.
Especially
and
since
everything.
It's a 12-set win streak because their last loss was on October 5th at South Dakota State. They won 3-1, and they lost the first set. Excuse me. So it's a 12-set win
Okay.
streak.
Nice.
I went and bet them this.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you would, though.
I know.
So that's just domination right there. And they ended up beating second place Denver in 3 straight
Well, at
sets.
the
too.
time, it was a tie. It wasn't first place and second place.
Yeah,
at the
true.
time, they were both 4-0
I'm just
in
saying
the
now
conference.
second place. Probably.
Yes, now they're second place. And it was... I'm actually really impressed with Denver. I watched that game, and I was really impressed with them. They reminded me of a young South Dakota. Like how we were last year. They have all the pieces. They have all the athletes. They're just not cohesive.
They're not meshing yet.
But they performed really well against an experienced team because I think on Denver's team there's 2 seniors, something
Okay.
like that. Like they're super young, right?
Right.
And they still forced us to go.
See, there was a
overtime.
reason that Denver wanted in this conference.
Mhm.
To get them into the competition.
Yes, they have the means for the competition,
They definitely
and they
do.
knew that the rest of this conference had competition as well that
Mhm.
they could put up against them.
But yeah,
rather
I mean,
than-
they did force the overtime in the final set. We had to go 26-24. So I
Okay.
mean, it was still a really impressive match.
Right? Yeah.
I was actually more impressed with UNO than I thought I would be because they were ranked 7 in Summit League competition,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually almost
7
lost
out of
to
8
them.
teams.
Just
Since
above
we
SDSU.
only have 8 in the conference right now.
Just above SDSU.
Yep.
But yeah, they don't have any seniors at all on their roster.
Wow.
They have 2 juniors on their roster, and that's probably. I thought that was why they were probably a bit underrated, and they were losing so much because they have 6 wins, I think. But I mean, they're really young, to be fair, clearly.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. It was a pretty impressive match, I thought, from UNO's side, because obviously, USD is the team to beat now in the
Right,
conference,
yes.
and
Yeah.
they came in to the Dakota Den just unfazed. Well, mostly unfazed. And they made it interesting, at least for the last set. The score
Was the
is
score
a bit...
still 3-1 though? Or was it-
3-0.
Still
Oh,
3-0.
but they just gave them a run for the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the scores were a bit faulty because they were very large scores. I mean, one of the scores was 25-15, I think, is one of the finals. But it doesn't speak much for how the game went.
Right. It doesn't talk the rallying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so congrats to our
Woo!
women.
Yes.
We're doing excellent,
Woohoo!
I think.
Basketball's coming up in a week.
Oh, goodness.
Oh yeah, I still need to get that press pass.
Our next game is tomorrow evening. It is in Indiana. play IUPUI. We have Summit League competition for the rest of the season. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 games left. IUPUI is next week, or not next week, tomorrow, and then Fort Wayne is on Saturday. So we're just staying in Indiana for the weekend. Why not? And then we have our state series next week, and that's the end of our home games because we don't have a lot of home games with the Den being so small. We have like 8 home games or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of something to bring up. USC's undefeated at home after being like
Very,
pretty
very
much
terrible
winless
last year.
last year. So
Only
It took them to
winning one.
win against SDSU at home
mhm.
to get anything rolling in the Den.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So congrats to that. We're gonna do a final howl just because.
Woohoo!
And I need to find it. But since Joe wasn't here the whole time and Josh got muted, that leaves Nate.
Oh, what?
Nate wins.
All right. I got it, Hal. Recently, there was a story that came out saying that a one-handed basketball player has verbally committed to Florida, and he's actually pretty dang good too. So, kudos to that kid. And I think you will see some playing time. He's got some good ball handling skills, only being a one-handed guy. That's perfect, and that's something you don't see every day. So, kudos to him. Good luck at Florida, and hopefully he can lead him to a championship.
All right, that is going to do our show for today. Don't forget to tune in next week, same time, same place, 5 to 7. Now, what?
Nothing. Go.
Go ahead.
Whatever. Don't make fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you.
You're making fun of me.
No.
5 to 7. Alright, so we continue to talk about all sports, professional and collegiate, as well as USD and our favorite Savannah State corner. So this has been I put us all down as hosts. So even Joe's special, he's not a guest,
Yeah!
he's a host. So Josh Earl, Joe English, and Nathan Poole as my special host, and myself, Victoria Harmony, for Make Your Point. Tune in next week. Like our Facebook page, watch our Ustream if you're able to. And keep listening to KAOR Radio. Such a boy.
What?
Watch our Ustream so you can see me flip you off like 7 times.
I really wasn't laughing at Victoria.
Yeah, he was laughing at my one-armed guy.
I could just see him running up and down the court.
But he's actually really
I know, it's terrible.
It's really horrible.
It was like,
Oh man, I want to see him do a crossover.
I'll go through the knee and through the legs. He actually has.
Ugh. Hey, want to hear something funny that's funny in its stupidity? Royce White has been released by the 76ers.
I'll see a two-hand slam by him.
Oh, good.
Two-hand, oh. Yeah.
Can it be a one hand and one leg?
He's going to be the first person to use his feet to slam dunk the ball.
You know what? I figure if he needs to like kick it to someone, I say let him do it.
Big pass.
Yeah. It's like street ball. Or we should continue. Well,
You just stopped the recording. There's really no reason to be recording.
hey folks, thanks for watching. Actually,
y'all.
when I went
Nobody
on,
watched.
it said 2 people watching and 1 was, yeah, so it's like there's no one watching.
Nobody watched, but thank you anyway. Because
Assholes! Except if you're watching this, you're listening, we love you because you are watching. Yeah, that.
Because I stopped making Andrew watch, so... And
I
Alex...
asked Hello if he was going to watch.
He has class.